Welcome back to Factory Sealed. It is December 30th, 2018. My name's Eric Peterson. Joining me today, Mr. Tom Reagan.
Hey, guys.
Mr. Mike Tyson.
Hello.
And Dan Curtis.
Shabba.
Still shabbering over there, are
Still
you?
doing it. Still going for it.
Holding strong.
Always.
Always shabber in the morning. Always shabber in the evening. Shabbering all day long.
I think they only shabber once a month in Het.
Too much shabber for one village.
No, they got to haul in the shabba from the next village.
Only when the roads aren't being blocked up by a tractor,
Yeah.
like when I visited.
And when the donkey's not tied up with the post.
A tractor with a boat on the back. Get it right.
Yeah.
Was it a boat?
It was a boat. It's for the duck pond.
Oh, you wouldn't fit that in there. Duck ponds aren't big. I mean, it's nearly a duck puddle, let's face it.
You got to give them effort points for trying. Just put
Yes,
the back
very
end of the
trying.
boat in there with the engine in and just rev it and spray water everywhere. Kids love it.
Well, 1 second later. Well, that's us on the other side. Excellent.
Is that like the het equivalent of like ghetto parts of America where they just like open up a fire hydrant in the summer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Just drop the local boat engine in and spray it out. I mean, you get bits of duck and fish in there, but it's all right.
Ugh.
Cook the duck for later. Bit of delicious
Yeah.
duck. Mmm, delicious.
Crispy duck.
Yeah. It's like playing in the
We
sprinkler.
don't eat any of that
and-
foreign shit in Het, thank you.
What is Het cuisine? What is Het known
Yeah.
for?
Here,
Raw wheat?
Tripe.
northeastern delicacy peace pudding, no doubt.
Unleavened bread? Tack bread? You got to dunk it in water for 3 days before it's soft enough to chew.
I find that a bit sharp, to be honest.
Maggoty biscuits like you used to get on ships. You have to tap them to get the worms out before you use them.
Plague-infested rats?
Or even plague, possibly.
Oh my god! Right, I'm glad this has been brought up because I've been listening to some old shows
What?
recently. Right, and I want to do an experiment with you, Eric. Right.
With me?
So do you remember? Yeah. So okay.
Oh, God. This is
So
going to
the
end
usual
poorly.
things, right? Say plague.
Plague.
Okay, and vague.
Vague.
Right. Say bagel.
Bagel.
Okay, so you say bagel weirdly. Okay, fine. Right. Now in Illusion of
Bagels.
Gaia, say Tower of Babel.
Tower of Babel.
Now say bagel.
Bagel.
Okay, now say Tower of Babel, but replace the middle B with a G.
Tower of Bagel.
Because you say because they're the same word with a different letter in the middle, but you still say them differently.
How is that different?
You say
Didn't
bagel,
we go
but
through
then
this
you
all
go-
on the
then you
Illusion
go-
of Gaia
then you go-
episode?
No, we didn't do this experiment though. We mentioned that he said bagel weirdly because he says bagel, but then he says Babel and he's fine.
Tower of Babel and a bagel.
Look, see?
Successful experiment.
Yeah, just proves that Eric's an idiot.
This is a bit of a spoiler for later, but I think we might be coming back to this as a memory.
Maybe. Oh, so I was in Minnesota this past week, and I came across a true Yooper accent at the grocery store, and it killed me. It was exactly what we make fun of on the show, and I just walked out in tears laughing. The lady asked me, she straight up's like, "Oh, hey, how you doing today?" "Oh, I'm great." She's like, "Oh, do you want it in a bag?" "No, thanks." "Oh, have a good day. See you soon."
No way.
Oh, yeah, it was
Sure.
great.
Should have got her to do some ASMR for you.
Oh, yeah. Don't you know? Oh, for fun. Oh, jeez, Margie.
You're gonna need a bag on that.
You're gonna need a big. Really draw that. Gotta pull your lips to the corner of your mouth. For anyone who doesn't
What's going
know,
on?
if you're a Patreon supporter, you're gonna have an hour of the weirdest factory sealed unwrapped to date.
And if you're a fan of ASMR, you're going to love it.
Yeah, if you love ASMR, you should probably go donate to Patreon because we knocked it out of the park. Or something to that effect. It got weird.
Just knocked one out, I think.
We knocked 4 out. Maybe 5, depending on how early Hazel left.
Poor girl.
That's probably why she left. She's getting too hot and
Yeah,
bothered.
maybe.
Oh dear, Eric's doing ASMR. For those who don't know what ASMR is, Mike, do you want to give us an explanation?
No, I'll let you. You were brand new to it, Eric. I will let you explain.
So,
Can I
You
explain
you
it?
did.
I've
you
got
didn't know
it.
what
I've
was.
got it.
thank you, Dan, and then I'll give a demonstration.
So basically, ASMR is weird people on Twitch making rustling noises into microphones.
With one caveat, you have to be scantily clad.
Yes.
But that's not the focus of it. The focus of it is the audio. You have to listen and get hard. Because it's relaxing when I fart into your mouth.
Have I fallen over?
I get paid to do this.
In other news, my gran managed to survive Christmas this year without falling over, which is always good news.
That doesn't sound like a
Woo!
good Christmas.
Oh yeah, Christmas happened.
It did. Tom's first Christmas in North America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taste that freedom.
Oh, I felt very free sat there. Finally, have our own traditions.
Was it any different, Tom?
No, not really. Same old shit.
Same
Family
shit,
arguing
Now,
with
different
Mike,
each other.
pile.
were you full of the joys of the season, Mike?
Hey! I'll have you know, there is photographic evidence of me dressed like Santa going to pick my mother-in-law up.
Can we have this
Begrudgingly
picture?
or willingly?
It's on my Facebook.
Hold.
How did you not see this?
I don't know. I don't stalk
Alright.
you on Facebook.
Well, me and my sister-in-law's boyfriend had to go and pick my mother-in-law up, and we both dressed as Santa to pick her up and surprised her.
oh man,
Boxing legend Santa Mike Tyson in the car.
Speaking of picking people up, Tom and I have elaborate plans for how we're going to be picking you all up at the airport.
Oh, God.
It's worth it.
And the fact that you're all going to be super tired and probably pissed off is going to make it even better.
I am going to be Mardy.
Like Mardi Gras?
No.
Yeah,
much less
sort of.
jovial.
Yeah, so if I give you beads,
speaking
you're
of
gonna show me
plans,
your
Eric,
kids?
wait until you see what we've got in store for your house.
Oh, Jesus
That's what's going
Christ. Yeah, if my house is still assembled by the time you get here.
It's pretty unlikely. So, right, every couple of days, Eric sends us a photo where he's somehow managed to put a hole in something else, and I don't know what he's up to.
Well, yesterday I was trying to fix the shower, and what I was trying to fix broke, so I had to chisel it
Hi
out.
there, and welcome to DIY with Eric. Now, I'm going to show you today how to put a hole in the wall.
The D is for deconstruction.
That's my middle name, Eric D. Peterson, Deconstruction.
Hold on. Rewind.
After I put that hole in the wall, I'm going to tell you all about Mega Man.
The thing you were trying to fix broke, so it wasn't broken to begin with.
Well, it
But
was
you were trying to fix it.
okay. So it was a cartridge inside the shower head that I had to take out, and it was rusted in there. So as I was pulling it out, it broke. I was trying to replace that piece because it was defective, and then I broke it trying to take it out.
Good effort, mate.
Nice.
Yeah. We got there in the end, though. I fixed it. Not so much the hole in the wall yet. But
Is the
house-
hole at
Some
crotch
kind of
height?
glory hole situation, is it?
glory hole? Oh, a glory hole.
Glory
Yeah.
hole.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm doing downstairs. That's the sex dungeon.
All right.
Well, I put a curtain up and it didn't reach the bottom. It didn't reach the floor. I just sent a picture to you all of the results. I got given a I got given a curtain by our landlord because we haven't had curtains since I've lived here, and I was sure that it wasn't going to fit anyway. And doesn't reach the floor, does it?
Do you know there's such a thing called a tape measure?
Yeah. Well, I gave him the measurements. And then he brings around these curtains and he left the price label on, and the price label was from a place called Your Dollar Store. And I was like, great, so you bought my curtains from the dollar store. Of course they weren't going to be made to measure.
Tom, curtains are cheap. You can just buy your own.
I did in the end. But for the other 2 rooms, I just put his up in this
A few
room.
weeks ago, I thought I would do Christy a favor and wash the curtains over a sliding glass door because they're like 94 inches tall. Yeah, they shrunk by 8 inches. Same situation.
Yeah.
Don't put curtains
In
in the
other
dryer, they
words,
shrink.
if either of these 2 idiots wants to do DIY around your house, do not let them.
Hey, I'm quite the handyman. I managed to put an electrical outlet in my gaming closet. House hasn't
Yeah,
burned
it doesn't
down
mean it's not going to
yet.
explode randomly at one day.
Yeah, well, wait till you find out who's sleeping in my game room. Sure as hell ain't you, Dan.
I was going to say, it's not Dan.
No, I put Kingdom Hearts 2.
If he's got anything long and pointy in his pocket, then definitely not.
Yeah, you're going to be strip searched every time you come into the house.
I pretty much guarantee there'll be something pointy in my pocket. But you might not be able to remove it.
Yes, but I can make it soft.
Just do ASMR and they'll be fine.
Let's go.
Let you open Kingdom Hearts.
I think... Eric,
Ghost attack everywhere!
You
What,
should
Tom?
wait at the airport. You should wait at the airport with a red velvet cushion with Kingdom Hearts 2 on it. And just be down on one knee where the arrivals door is. And
I'm gonna come out off the plane in full like night outfit.
Yeah, you have to wear a
holding the
crown.
ceremonial and sealing sword.
Oh, man, that would be beautiful.
Verily, Mr. Tyson, we have arrived in the promised land of America. I am here to unseal the Kingdom Hearts of Destiny.
Well, I was
Unseal.
planning to walk out the plane like to the reception that the Beatles got in the 60s. I'd just come out with my hair flowing everywhere, waving to the massive crowd of women screaming.
Yeah, keep dreaming, mate.
It'll be Tom and I.
At least
screaming, but we can
mine's
dress
feasible.
Tom and I can dress as women.
I just presume that's what happens when you land in America. Like they always just have thousands of women there screaming as you come out. Is that not how it works?
No.
Oh my God! It's the savior of the show.
They weigh you as you get off, and if you're under 300 pounds, you have to finish a tub of Crisco before you can leave the airport.
What the fuck is Crisco?
It's like shortening, like lard.
It's what?
Like
Okay, right.
baking, shortening. Use it as substitute for butter, margarine.
Lard.
Got you.
It's not lard,
It is.
is it?
I get the idea.
Yes.
Yeah,
It
never
is.
heard.
Crisco lard.
It's fat. It's a tub of fat.
All right. Start off your trip with a heart attack.
Yeah. Dan, what would you do if I did show up at the airport with Kingdom Hearts 2 for you to unseal? Would you just turn around and get right back on the plane and go home?
No, I'd open it.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant. You'd open it and then be like, well, job's done. See ya.
Yeah, pretty much. I think after about 1 million hours of whatever flights Mike's booked, I'll probably want to stay in America, to be honest.
Hey! Eric was the one who showed me these flights.
I didn't show you
I
shit.
just booked them. I
I didn't show you shit.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't show you.
You're like, oh, look at how cheap these flights are, and I was like, oh yeah, the Royal Rumble's happening. Let's book those.
Sweet.
In my defense, they have changed like 20 million times since we booked them.
Yeah, see? So I showed you great tickets.
I'm pretty sure we're coming via Timbuktu or somewhere now.
Come via the Het Donkey.
Yes.
That will take a while.
Did you guys get anything good for
we're going-
Christmas?
I got PSVR.
Woo!
That's pretty good.
That's
It
pretty
is
good.
pretty
Did you
good.
get it with the Move controllers, or did you got to go out and get them?
No, went and bought those separate.
Wait, so
Dan got
let
a
me
very
get this
special
straight.
controller.
You bought them
Yeah.
as soon as you got them. As soon as you got the VR, right?
I just went
here
out
we
and bought
go.
them, yeah.
So
Because
Dan.
Tom likes to have immediate fun.
Yeah. The way of Dan's
I like to prepare for my fun. Leave me alone.
Doesn't have to psych himself up for 3 months.
or put it on a Christmas list, which then doesn't get fulfilled.
Why you tell everyone about your fancy move
hey,
controller you got?
right? I've got my navigation controller. It comes in handy.
So in the end, Dan had to go out and buy his own move controllers because his parents ordered him a
move controller.
Okay, either way. Your parents went out and bought you a PS3 navigation controller, which isn't even close.
It had PlayStation Move in the title.
Oh, God.
oh my God.
So in the end, his plan was thwarted by himself.
Yeah, my mother gave me it on Christmas. I unwrapped it. I was like, "What's this?" My mum went,
Did you have to
"Oh, is it
feign
not the
being
right?"
happy?
It was no. She went, "Is it not the right one?" And I went, "No."
Oh no.
You just crushed your mom. She's like, "Oh, God, Dan, I know he's been waiting to have all this fun so patiently. Such a good boy. Can't wait to see that smile on his face."
Sat there with the mug of tea up to the mouth with the smirk.
And a hidden camera to capture it and to relive it 20 years from now.
My God.
It's fine. I went out and got one. It's fine. It's
you have
very hard to track down a single one, though.
Yeah, so you
Because
should have just
they
bought
only-
two, so you had two PS4 Move controllers.
Why?
Because now you have to charge them with two different cables. And what if we wanted to get one of those neat VR headset stands?
I don't.
He'd have to wait. He'd have to wait until next Christmas.
This is correct.
It's not like you can even break up the year with a
And then they'd
birthday
get me
present.
a stand for a Virtual Boy or something.
I mean, that'd be great. I'd like that.
Have you guys got one of those VR headset stands?
Yeah, I do.
Nice. Does your PS4 sit on it as well?
No,
Further
no,
to-
no. I keep mine on top of
Couldn't
my
Couldn't you just
audio rack.
steal a mannequin head from around the back of a shop or something, and that would do?
That'd actually be cool as hell.
That would be cool. Good idea, Dan.
And then put Eric's
Thank you.
Eric's face on
Don't
it.
encourage him, Tom.
Sorry. That was a mediocre idea, Dan. You can do better next time.
All right.
Well, I didn't get it Christmas Day, but the day after. Oh, by the way, Eric, you've always been confused about the fact that we call the day after Christmas Boxing Day, right?
Yeah, because you box all your shit up.
Yeah, but you thought it was weird. I'm sure you thought it was weird.
It's super weird.
Canadians
But-
also call it Boxing Day.
I was going to say, right, I know...
Hello,
I know
that's my birthday. Don't be besmirching it, thank you.
I realise that I seem to use WWE for a lot of my American references, but I was watching NXT the other day, and they call it Boxing Day on there as well. So they do call it Boxing Day in America.
No, they don't.
Eric
Well, I
calls it
think
Keep
you're
Everything
wrong.
Sealed Day.
No, seriously, I've never heard that till I met you guys.
Yeah, but you're not a normal person. You think
Yeah, but
vag is vague.
Didn't
you think
someone also correct you
bagel
when
is
you said-
bagel.
You were correct.
You punch holes in the walls of your house.
Will you let Mike finish his insult?
You leave plastic wrapping on your sofas.
It's so I can
And you're
pee
an
on it.
idiot.
Yeah, you were corrected on the community when, like, you said that Americans don't call the actual truck when there's a truck and trailer a tractor. So I think that you're just wrong about America in general.
I'm going to call up my mom. Mom, was it called Boxing Day? Maybe I could call my grandma.
darling, it's called Keep It Sealed Day.
No, we call it the day after Christmas.
Oh, wow, inventive. Well done, America. Oh, I got you called the day after Christmas. Oh, we call it the day after Christmas.
It's better than fucking Boxing Day. What are you doing boxing up on my shit? Oh, it's called Boxing Day.
It doesn't take as long to say, though, does it?
Yeah, but it can be confused.
It refers back to before 1776, where we used to box the Americans because you're idiots.
But we beat you.
After 1776, yeah. That's why I said before. You see, the key is in the wording. Obviously.
So, Mike, what did you get?
I am now the proud owner of an Xbox One X.
Weed.
Oh,
Weed, weed.
shit, son.
Weed. Welcome to 4K60.
You know what? The best thing about it, Game Pass.
Yeah.
Game Pass is the mother.
Never heard of it.
Titties.
Game Pass is the reason that I went over my internet cap that I didn't know I had.
Oh, look at that. Eric didn't read something properly.
No, they changed it. It's supposed to be unlimited. And then they changed it like 3 months beforehand.
Yeah, but don't they send you shit out?
No.
Sent him an email in capital letters saying we have changed your plan.
That was one of the largest complaints was people like, wait, what the fuck? Nobody notified us about this. Like, well, yeah, it was on our website and you had to go look for it. So if you're not looking to change your plan, nobody's going to know. You're right, I wouldn't.
Yeah, but you wouldn't
Exactly.
look anywhere.
Well,
I was going to ask you something actually, guys. Do you ever have your
Well.
Do you have your PS4 vertical or horizontal?
laying down.
Because
Laying down,
mine's so fucking loud at the moment. It sounds like it's going to take off whenever I play any VR games.
Yeah, the VR takes a lot of power.
Yeah, I got
Have
a
you got a Pro?
But
I think the Pro is louder than the PS4 Slim in general. Maybe you've just noticed
Possibly.
the difference since you've upgraded.
it's loud.
Have you got it in an echo chamber?
I've got it in like I think it might be because I have it in like a cabinet. It's not closed, but the airflow might be a bit blocked. I'm not sure.
I honestly think it's a problem with PS4 Pros compared to the Xbox One X. The Xbox One X uses liquid core, so it's really quiet.
Oh
but
yeah,
the
I
PS4
can't hear
Pro
my
is
Xbox
pretty
at
loud.
all.
So
Yeah.
Oh jeez.
But I basically Hazel hadn't got me a main present for Christmas yet, and I was in the market for getting possibly an Xbox One because Hazel was going to put the money towards it, and then I found out how much money Hazel was going to put towards it, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to splash the extra cash and get the X.
I think it's worth it. Because then if you did want to get any of the modern games on there, the One S is universally the worst of the modern consoles.
Yeah, but there's a couple of pre-orders I had for next year that I've already swapped over to Xbox One X to take full advantage.
See, and I know I talked to you a little bit about this, but what I do in that regard is I wait until the actual graphical reviews for each of the games come out. Because if it's a negligible difference, I'm just going to stick with PS4 because that's where a majority of my collection is. It's the ecosystem I like. But a game like Red Dead, where it was leaps and bounds better on the One X, then I'm going to get it on there.
I get that, but this is the first time I've ever owned an Xbox, and I am actually really enjoying the Xbox One controller, to be honest.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Xbox does have a good controller. But I do like the DualShock 4, actually.
Oh yeah, nothing against the DualShock 4, but the few games that I've been
Pro-
playing, really enjoying it.
Got nothing on those Pro
they-
controllers.
Did you get one
right,
for
though?
Christmas?
Did I shite?
I bet you Dan's got 3 of them, and he's now just so far into this joke that he can't dig himself out. Oh, dear.
Oh, I got
for all the
4.
Smash parties you have?
Yeah, so alongside my navigation controller, I just got games.
I
for Christmas.
haven't...
I have Spyro, Black Ops 4, Smash Brothers, Diablo 3, and I got Moss, Shadow of the Tomb Raider,
Proceeded to
and
complete them
Assassin's
all
Creed
before
as
it even
well.
got the wrapping off.
Yeah.
Yes. I have finished Spyro 1 already, 100% with the Platinum Trophy. In between playing Beat Saber, because that's just fun as hell. And Mike, Super Hot VR is amazing. Really is.
No.
Eric, have you played that?
Do
You want
I?
to give it a try? It's real good.
Do I?
You
I think
do.
it's on sale at the moment.
Super hot.
You do.
It is really good.
It is.
I
very
have not really opened any major presents yet.
Oh, surprise, surprise!
good. Oh, shocking. Everything's still under the tree in the wrapping.
The next level of factory sealed. I don't even know what it is.
You just pick up all your presents. You're like,
We'll just keep those there. Children, please don't open your presents.
You're just
No.
holding all your presents. And you're just looking at everybody around you like, you shouldn't have.
You should. They're worthless now. No, we were in Wisconsin for the trip or for the holidays, and most of the Christmas presents back there were for the kids. So my wife and I haven't really done a gift exchange yet for ourselves.
You might
Well,
want
my
to crack
kids don't
on.
get home
Christmas is
until Wednesday, so we're going to do a formal Christmas with them. We came home 5 days early and left the kids up there.
What, by accident?
No, fully intentional.
Just got home and, oh, crap!
And how are they
If
getting
I know,
back?
that's not my problem.
Hitchhiking?
Oh. No, my mom kept him up there with my sister. So yeah, we have kid-free weekend.
What are you going to do with it, other than tear your house apart?
Tear my house apart, then put it back together again.
Seal it up?
Yeah. No, I'm actually finishing up my game room. I got those prints finally framed.
Isn't he dead?
He is, but... Jesus, Mike.
Oh, God.
That may be on the level with the optician one.
Hey, my optician's joke was the tits.
No, it wasn't. I went back and found it.
What was it again?
Said
What was
I
it again?
prefer spec savers when we were talking about spec ops.
Gran Turismo, no. Gran Turismo A-Spec, and I said I preferred Gran Turismo Spec Savers.
Oh, God.
Oh,
my
God.
Spoilers for worst memory of the year coming up.
Wait, are we doing a worse memory? That seems really,
Well, you spoiled it
really
now.
nihilist.
I was going to bring that up, but since we're here, should we move on to the actual purpose of this show? We are an hour into this.
I didn't realize there was a purpose.
Fuck, I don't know. We didn't play a game this
I don't know.
week.
Do you want to bring up the first agenda on the old show prep sheet?
The first agenda
want-
on the first item?
Yeah, first item on the agenda.
Yeah!
That's what I meant. Do you want to do that first?
Yeah. So we did a Secret Santa this year in the Facebook community. Well, just in the community, but yeah, it was run through Facebook. What a cool turnout. There was just some incredible stuff that people had sent out to each other. I'm going to see if I can find the post. I didn't prepare for that. But here we go. Secret Santa. I don't know where it is. But yeah, so I think that turned out really well. I ended up having Shannon McIntosh send me a box of just insane goodies. I got a bunch of PlayStation coasters, an American flag fanny pack, a Mega Man t-shirt, a couple of old Tiger handheld games that apparently still work. I have to throw some batteries in. And then my very own copy of Goof Troop.
You're welcome. He reached out to me to ask what you would like.
Brilliant.
Oh, dear. Yeah, so I can't wait to pop that game in.
I thought you were going to say I can't wait to strap it to a firework.
Well, I mean, I got it from a listener, so I should put it on my shelf. But
Exactly.
yeah, I think everybody had some really cool stuff. There was actually a ton of thought that went into things like Chad Hager. I think he had Jeremy Sanford. Went onto Jeremy's Facebook page, found a picture that in the background showed all of his N64 games and zoomed in on it to isolate a couple that he didn't have.
Oh, my God.
And then Jeremy had Ben Schrader.
Jeremy Sanford actually
Go ahead.
sent somebody a picture from Castlevania with your head on it.
It's a terrible night for a curse.
To Ben Schrader. That was it.
Yeah, so I saw Ben when I was back in lacrosse, and he's like, Jesus, I got that and just died. So funny. Yeah, there's a lot of games that were sent out. I know Ben sent somebody a bunch of PSVR games and cool stuff, so it was really neat to see. I'm looking forward to doing it next year.
Nice.
I think you guys need to get in on it.
Well done, Santa Mike Tyson. You did
guys
well.
need to get in on it next year. Do it.
I shall.
Do it. Oh, and then I sent, I had Juliet. I sent her some prints from Rob Duenas, and then
Thought he was dead.
I just sent some of him. God damn it.
Sorry.
It's the joke that keeps on giving.
Oh, here we go. I found the post. So let's see.
I'm surprised you found it the way you read things.
I just skim over it. I look at pictures. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything that Shannon sent me.
I know that's a joke now, Mike, but honestly, he's been this way for years. The amount of times I've told him things and he hasn't read it.
Takes work.
Why would he read things that you tell him?
Yeah.
Because we communicate primarily via text usually, do we not?
Semantics.
Yes.
You win this time, Gadget.
Yes.
Inspector Gadget.
But yeah, Secret Santa was a success.
Yes. Good work, everyone.
Good work. But yeah, this show is our annual Games of the Year show. I think this is our 5th year doing it? 4th year? Yeah.
That's Crystal's favourite song, isn't it?
It is.
It is,
That's going
yeah.
to be her wedding march.
I just gave her a CD for Christmas with just that on.
On a loop. Oh, poor girl.
So we're going to go through...
And a packet of toilet roll.
We're going to go through our top 10 games of the year. Criteria being anything we played this year, whether it's old or new. That's it.
You know the drill by now. If you've listened to the shows and like Mike, you know what to do.
Yeah.
Did you say if you listen to the shows and like Mike?
That's what I heard.
Unlike.
Too late to change what you said.
Yeah.
So we'll go through in typical fashion. We'll start at 10, work our way up. If somebody says a game that's number 10 on their list and someone else has it higher, we'll wait to talk about that game until it gets to the highest point on the list for anyone across the board. Make sense?
Sounds good. That makes sense.
Then when we get to the
by the way, me, Tom, and Eric have done top 10 lists of the game we played. Tom has just done a list of games you've never heard of.
Yeah.
Don't you mean Dan?
What?
You said me, Tom, and Eric, and then Tom has done a list of
I
games.
don't know
you haven't.
someone. They understand the joke. They listened to us before. Move it round where you need to, everyone.
We just put all the pieces down. You just got to assemble
Yeah,
it.
exactly. God, I can't be expected to do everything.
Just do something.
Here you go, look. Here I am. Is that ASMR again?
I don't know, but it turned me on.
Is that her back? It's like a person.
I imagine under that beard, Mike, you look very miserable.
His eyes look happy.
I did say as they were taking a photo of me, the good thing about the beard is I don't have to smile.
Bigger question. Why do you have 2 different shoes on?
Because?
He does that.
Good enough answer. I like it.
2 different colour Converse. Did you not know it's 2006 all over again?
That would explain it.
I like how Santa on the right has a fag in his hand.
Yeah.
Nothing says Christmas like a smoking Santa.
For people who don't know, he means cigarette, not an actual homosexual in his hand.
I meant what I said.
That Santa hat nearly didn't get on my head.
Is it a toddler size?
No, it's just because I've got massive hair.
I'm beginning to have this problem as well.
You can go to a barber.
No, I like having long hair.
Me too.
Guys, should we start at number 10?
That's
I
probably
think we should
logical.
start
give
at
us
number... then go
Can we
up to
start
7,
at
and then back
52,
down again.
please?
Case in point, we can't do anything serious.
Eric, what is your number 10?
My number 10 was a toss-up, but I feel like in the moment, I have to give it to Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga for the 3DS.
Oh.
Yes. I don't know, there was something about that just re-engaged me, because I was kind of disappointed with the most recent Paper Marios. So to kind of dive back into a true RPG, which is technically the successor to Super Mario RPG, super engaging game, and I can't wait for them to do. What's the one they're coming out with? Bowser's Inside Story.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They should do them for Switch.
I know.
They need the dual screen thing. If it's anything like, because I played Partners in Time, that's the only one of the Mario and Luigi ones I played, and yeah, it uses the dual screen too much.
They can rejig it. It's Nintendo. They can do anything.
Well, didn't they put DS games on the Wii U?
Did they?
Yeah, but that had dual screen. Yeah, there was a couple. I can't think what they were. But
Yeah, but couldn't you play it with just both the screens on the main TV?
I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't buy any. Yeah, I mean, we've talked extensively about that on a different show, but it was a toss-up between that and A Way Out, but I don't know.
I've not played A Way Out yet. You can play that if only one of you have a copy of it, can't you?
You can. It's a...
Can we arrange some time for us to play that?
Yeah, I'll play through it again.
Awesome.
It's
I
really
feel like
engaging.
that game kind of came out and passed everybody by.
Well, it's such an engaging concept, though, too. It's basically Prison Break, the video game, where you're both doing something in different screens. The screen is split down the middle, even if you're playing online with each other, and you can see what that person is doing, but you're very rarely in the same location at the same time. It's a really neat game, but I had to give it to Superstar Saga because it was one of those that stood out this year for me.
Did you play
if
that?
It has the same kind of comedy that Partners in Time has, then I can imagine it's great.
Yeah.
I should get around to it now.
And then they had the side. They had the Bowser's Minion add-on to it as well, which added a bunch more content to it. It was super long too.
Oh yeah,
pervert. Who wants to go next? Number 10.
Go on, Dan.
me.
Dan, go.
Now this one is in under the wire, but number 10 is Beat Saber.
Oh, see, I thought about putting that on my list, but
Me too.
I have it higher.
oh, so we'll wait.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay, we can't.
I
talk
think it
about
was. I mean, for me, it was a fantastic game, but I don't know. There were better games.
I can see myself playing it a lot in the coming months. I've only had it about 3 days, but I love it so much.
Well, we'll wait to talk about it till we get to Tom.
Yes, we will. I know. Mike.
My number 10, Florence for mobile.
Oh, I nearly had that on my
Interesting.
list.
Yeah, so for people who don't
Your
know...
number one's going to be Ghostbusters World, isn't it?
Oh, Jesus.
No, I give you a no Ghostbusters World guarantee. No, Florence. I think you guys have mentioned it before. I'd heard it spoken about online.
I played it.
It's only a few quid or a few dollars if you're in America. It's like a 45-minute, maybe hour-long experience. It's in some ways it's not quite a game. It's more like just an interactive experience, but it's very clever in what it does. It's essentially the rise and fall of a relationship and picking up the pieces after a relationship is over. And I think just the experience you got from such a short game where you essentially just do these kind of really rudimentary puzzles where you're moving things around. The actual impact of it was fantastic. I think it won Mobile Game of the Year, didn't it, at the Game Awards?
Yeah, I believe it did.
Really deserving. If you have like a spare hour of time and a couple of quid or a couple of dollars, I recommend it.
The music with it's fantastic too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the music.
play it with headphones for sure.
Yeah, and don't stop halfway through. You have to play. I think you have to play the whole thing
Yeah.
through in one go.
Yeah, but it's really sad in places, but it's also quite uplifting and empowering in some ways as well.
Well, yeah, especially if you've been through any sort of breakup or relationship hardship.
Exactly, and most people have. Not everybody has, but most people have, and I think it's something you can relate to. And I think it was just very well done, and for a neat little mobile experience, it was. Yeah, it left an impact on me, to be honest.
Nice. No.
Tom, what's
Agree.
your number 10?
My number 10 is Life is Strange Before the Storm.
I have actually heard of that.
That's
Well
the
done.
second one, right?
Yeah, it is the prequel to the first 5 episodes of Life is Strange. So it would make almost no sense if you started with this one. But it kind of tells the story of Chloe, who's one of the main characters from Life is Strange, prior to the events of that game. I don't know. It just ties a lot of loose ends as to there's a lot of foreshadowing that's cast in the first game, and the music actually is what really managed to get it on my list, because it's just more Life is Strange. It's really I'd say more of an add-on rather than a whole standalone game. But the soundtrack is from a British band called Daughter, who I'd never heard of before, but I've started listening to them quite a lot lately because the music in that game is fantastic. It just suits the mood really well. A lot of teenage angst and all this kind of stuff that Life is Strange is kind of known for, sometimes ridiculed for, but it seems to work pretty well in this context. But yeah, it's just a really, really solid game, I think. I quite like the series. The second Life is Strange is out now. I think there's some new characters they're bringing to the roster.
Did you get that free experience called the Captain Spirit one?
I don't think I did.
So before the first episode of Before the Storm, I've not played any Life is Strange, just to clarify.
Okay.
But before the Storm came out, they released a free short game that's in the style of Life is Strange. It's The Adventures of Captain Spirit, I think it's called, and it's kind of it happens before the storm, and apparently, from what I've heard, the next episode that's about to come out, it ends up linking to this Captain Spirit thing. But Captain Spirit is free, Tom, so have a look on PSN.
Oh, amazing! Yeah, I've just had a look now. It looks brilliant.
Yeah, but apparently it links up in the next episode.
That would make sense, because that character that I've just seen in a screenshot here looks like the main guy from the next one. So I'll definitely check that out. Yeah, thanks.
Might be worth playing before that next episode comes out.
Yeah. So that's my number 10.
Eric,
Number 9.
Number 9.
This is absolutely going to be higher on somebody else's list, but I just finished it last week. The Messenger.
Yeah, it's higher.
It's a little bit higher on mine.
Yeah,
It's also my number 9.
Ooh!
Oh, I expected that higher for you, Dan.
High five, Mr. Curtis.
I loved it, but I've played better.
I'll share my thoughts on it when we get to Mike's number 1.
Okay, is it me?
No, it's Dan.
Yeah, his number 9 is Messenger, so...
Remember,
yeah,
we just had that conversation a second ago. Yeah, you high-fived me and everything.
I wasn't listening.
I'll high five to that thing I don't know I'm talking about.
Freaking
So
idiot.
my number 9 was Resident Evil 7.
VR mode or regular mode?
Right. Well, this is the thing. This could have been higher, were I able to play through it in VR. But the weird thing about Resident Evil 7 in VR is it proper made me motion sick. Now, I can play Wipeout VR absolutely fine. I'm all good. But walking through corridors in Resident Evil 7, I don't know what it is, makes me want to hurl.
It took me a long time messing with the settings in there, because they give you a lot of control over field of vision, and you can get grid lines and depth of view and motion blur and all of that stuff. It took me a long time to iron it out to the point where I didn't get sick walking. But yeah, I definitely understand what you're talking about with that.
It's logical though if you think about the sickness from walking, because you're not actually walking, so it feels alien to you because you're in it.
There's that disconnect in your brain, like your brain is telling you I should be feeling this, but I'm not, so your equilibrium is off. I remember the first time I played any VR game that gave me that. It was some Junkyard something on the Oculus, and
Golf?
or no, not the Oculus, the HTC Vive, and all it was an online shooter where you're on a platform that can just move in lateral directions, no up or down, and I had to take it off. I got so sick.
Oh my god, sorry to deviate here, just my first VR experience on the PSVR was on the demo disc. There was some kind of, I think it's called Star Child or something, side-scrolling platformer. I felt so sick during that.
Yeah.
It was same as you, like the
I get
lateral movement.
I get a little bit of it with Astrobot because you're just static and then the camera will move.
Oh, really? See, I've had no issues at all.
Well, I stand up playing it.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Because it tells you to.
It doesn't.
But anyway, back to Resident Evil.
Yeah.
What a terrifying game.
Oh yeah, exactly. I've always been a big fan of Resident Evil. Resident Evil 2 is probably one of the most important. Well, it's on a list of the most important games from my childhood playing PlayStation early on.
Yeah.
This has a special place in my heart, that game. Obviously, over the years, Resident Evil became a bit different. I mean, I loved 4. 5 I was kind of on the fence on, then 6 came out, and 6 was the first game I'd pre-ordered in years because I was so excited about it. It seemed like it was going,
the
kind of going back
the
to
giraffe
its roots.
blowjob game, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what lured him in.
And the entire game was such a huge disappointment. So when the trailers for Resident Evil 7 came out and they'd gone to the first person, it was kind of back to the roots where you were just in, because it was like the mansion again, you were in that just enclosed area. And yeah, it's terrifying, absolutely terrifying. It really felt like an old school Resident Evil game despite the view perspective. If I had some criticisms, when you get sort of 2/3 through it starts to get that ridiculous Resident Evil zaniness, and although that's great in a way because it returns the series to what it was, it kind of makes it feels very disjointed to the first bit.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be a Resident Evil game without ridiculousness.
Yeah. I get that. But
because if you think about the original Resident Evil games, they kind of have that same formula as well, where you're dropped into the city and you're like, I don't know what the hell's going on. And yeah, suspension of disbelief with zombies and lickers. But then like 2/3 of the way through, you discover this mutant virus and Mr. X and all this Nemesis BS that pop in.
Stores!
I get that, but I don't want to say anything without too many spoilers for people. A bit later on, you end up finding this boat, basically. I'm not going to ruin anything else. And
You've ruined it, you fool!
And you end up kind of, after you leave the house, you kind of go to this boat and you end up getting all these flashbacks of things that are happening. And it just felt very, very disjointed compared to the beginning. And it could have been higher on the list, but
how long of a game
great,
is
though.
it?
I enjoyed it.
I don't know how far through I am. I had to put it down. It's the first game in a long time that was genuinely scary enough that I just feel like I couldn't finish it.
Oh my God.
I love horror games, so it was great for me. I loved it. It was terrifying. I loved it. Me and Hazel played through it together. I lost count of the amount of times she screamed. It's not a very long game. I can't say how many hours I put in, but it definitely wasn't very long.
I think it definitely put VR firmly on the map, though, as a viable way to play a true AAA title.
Yeah.
Because up until that point...
I bought VR specifically for me to play Resident Evil 7 on. So when it made me motion sick, I was a bit disappointed. But I actually said to Hazel, I want to get VR because I want to play through Resident Evil 7 on VR. Because I got it on offer. I got the gold edition on offer on PSN. And I didn't start it up until my VR got here.
Maybe try it again, Mike, and tweak the settings a bit and see if you can edit it.
And I've played a lot more VR now, so I might have my sea legs.
I think with VR, you have to get your VR legs. Like, it affects some people worse than others. Like, I haven't had much problem with it, to be honest. There's been a couple of times where I went, whoa, but other than that, I have never felt really sick playing VR.
Wait until you play Wipeout Omega and go through some of the tracks that have loops and massive dips and wide corners.
See, I don't have a problem with Wipeout.
See, I've played games where you're in rigs and you can jump around and things and all over, and like fly spaceships and all that kind of stuff, and I'm fine. So I don't know. And that's like up, down, all over the place.
Wipeout's a different category. We'll have you give it a go.
Oh, excellent! I really want to feel ill on holiday. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll make sure that you have 2 or 3 shots of vodka before you jump in,
and then you can have an Alka-Seltzer.
Yeah, Alka-Seltzer afterwards. We'll be in Arizona.
It's fine. The one from London will kick in when I hit American soil. I firmly believe this.
Oh, you're gonna feel like $1 million.
Despite it going to be past midnight when we'll be leaving the airport, I will be still a bundle of energy.
Yeah. And then Tom and I will be there to pick
in other words, the opposite of when I went to London because I was dead.
But at least you'll be happy to come here.
Yes.
Is this this will be your first time in the States, right?
Yeah, I've never been. Ever.
And you, Mike?
Yeah, first time.
Oh, man.
Oh, shit.
Only place I've been to that side of the world was Mexico for a honeymoon.
America's very different.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
Okay, Tom, you're number 7. Or, I'm sorry, number
9.
9. It is Wolfenstein: The New Order.
Oh, good shout.
Yeah. So I've not actually really played a Wolfenstein game before. I think
Tom, before you carry on,
Yep.
I am currently playing this, so just go easy on the spoilers for me. Please.
Oh,
And
yeah. No,
I have purchased it, but not opened
Thank
it.
you.
I think actually we should probably just say now that we should try not to spoil anything that we talk about.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
On this, but yeah, I mean, I think everyone knows maybe the general format of Wolfenstein. It's like an alternate history where like the Nazis have won the war, and then it's kind of a modern take of trying to combat Nazis in the modern day. So it's like it's really, really cool, and there's something about the environment in this game that really like just works beautifully, where it's even just little symbolic things and hints around the environment that you see that just reflect the story.
It does have a
very
lot
well.
of attention to detail in it.
Yeah, the details.
It's
really
it's a very believable world.
Yes,
I think.
that's
Even
what
though
I'm
it's an
looking for.
alternate environment universe. I got firmly invested in it.
Yeah. So there's just something about it. It was more than just. That's why it's in my list, really, because it was more than just a regular FPS, because it really focused on the details and the story element.
Yeah.
It's weirdly, the first couple of levels are weirdly difficult. It seems to.
It's
ease
quite
up
a
little
tricky
bit.
game, actually. It is.
I was literally
Yeah.
about to ask if you're having any trouble with it, because I mean, I'm terrible at first-person shooters anyway. The main reason I wanted to play this is because of that story element and the detail it puts in, and also I'm shit at first-person shooters, so I wanted to get better at them.
Yeah.
A few levels in, I am not, I'm not too proud to admit I've had to drop the difficulty down slightly.
Yeah, well, you've actually probably put yourself in the deep end because this is definitely a slightly harder first-person shooter than your regular one, I think, than your Call of Duties. But honestly, it's really, really good. I hope you manage to see it through to the end, because it's a really cool narrative. And
Have you played the second?
yeah, I've not played the second. Not played Old Blood.
Get the second. That's all I'll say. It's better.
Did you guys play Return to Castle Wolfenstein on the original Xbox?
That is actually included on Wolfenstein.
Oh, man, you got to play through that game. That is the game that got me into online gaming.
Which one is it included with, Dan?
I think it's on both of them. I think it might be an alternate kind of version of it or something.
Okay.
You can play it on like an arcade machine.
Well, no, you're thinking of like the really old.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm talking about the one that was on Xbox.
Some of one of the cool things with the New Order is like in that first level, there's like a really big decision that you make at the end, which completely changes the entire story of what's about to happen. So that's pretty. So I think there's actually more than one way you can play the whole game. That's all I'll say
I
about
got that.
that.
I got that impression too.
Yeah.
Also, that scene is brutal.
Yeah. There's some really brutal scenes in the whole game. It's really grisly.
It is a series that I've wanted to finish. Actually, in looking at it, I have started this one. I have not even opened the second one.
Oh, so how shocking!
Well, I got it on Black Friday for $15, along with like
That
7
doesn't
other
mean
games.
you don't have to not play it.
Well, I'm not going to open it till I'm ready to play it.
Well,
See
play
Kingdom
it.
Hearts 2. Building up to it.
Right.
What
Back
if
to
you
Eric
what
for
if you
number
come to
8?
find out that my number 1 is Kingdom Hearts 2 and I actually played through it?
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
I wouldn't be able to keep that joke.
No.
My number 8 is also going to be much higher on somebody else's list, I assume, and it is Celeste.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got it higher.
Figured as much.
I'm glad to see it's on your list, though, Eric.
Yeah. No, you and I had a
Proud of
great
you.
show with that one, but we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
Is it
Daniel?
me?
It is.
Yes. Number 8. I don't think any of you played this. Dead Cells.
Oh, yeah, you talked a
No.
lot about that one.
Yeah, Dead Cells has become my go-to kind of game when I don't have much time and I just want to do a quick run of a game. So when it first came out, I'd say I played it solidly for about a month. If you don't know what Dead Cells is, it's kind of a mix between Metroidvania and Roguevania, so it's procedurally generated levels with a clear goal, but there's so many weapons, there's so many different types of enemies, there's so many power-ups, and you also have this kind of RPG system where you upgrade your abilities and things like that, and it's just such a fun game.
I really like
really
the art
good
style
one to pick
in
up
this.
and play. Yeah, it's
What did you play it on? PS4 or Switch?
PS4.
Is it on? It's on Switch, isn't it?
It is
Yeah,
on Switch,
it's
but apparently it
generally
had frame rate issues, so I went for PS4.
Oh, really? Because I was about
Yeah.
to say, I heard that it was kind of the definitive way to play it.
No, when it first came out, it had frame rate issues, so I went PS4. But
They might have
um,
patched it.
yeah, I saw a trailer for this and I was like, "That's totally my kind of game," as you know, and I just had to play it.
They put Metroidvania
Really,
on
really,
anything and
really
down by.
highly recommended. It would probably be higher if there wasn't so many other stellar games this year.
What
I
unfortunately
want to
put
jump
that
in.
what unfortunately put that game more on the map was the plagiarized review from IGN.
Yes,
Oh my god! Yeah.
of course, I forgot about this.
Whatever happened to that guy?
He's
That's
back. He's back making YouTube videos again.
Oh, I harassed him
Plagiarizing.
on Twitter once.
Well done, Mike.
I didn't harass him.
He's-
Mike
I saw
harassing somebody on social media. Shocker.
Literally days after it happened, I saw a meme that said something like, "Oh, I've been accused of plagiarism. Their words, not mine," and I couldn't help myself. I just shared it on Twitter.
Did you see IGN's review of Borderlands VR recently as well?
No.
Oh, that's been a huge
Yes,
fuck
the
up as
guy
well.
hadn't played it, right?
Yeah, he
No.
basically played it and done an Eric. I'm pretty convinced it is Eric who did the review.
Oh, he didn't
And-
know that you could do a certain setting.
Yeah, and he thought he was playing. It was terrible because of the way he was playing it. But Borderlands VR gives you so many options to customize how you play it, and he didn't even look at these. Give it like
Gave
3
it a
out
3 out of 10.
3 out of 10.
Wow.
Well, they've gone back and changed it to
Read.
6.8.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just the cherry on the top of a bad year for IGN.
But the guy who did it, he wasn't. You know, like how they outsource the reviews to independent people sometimes. He was one of those, so I doubt he's going to get any IGN work ever again.
No kidding.
Good effort, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
I want to jump on Dead Cells at some point this year.
Yeah.
I heartily recommend it. It's just a lot of fun, like I say, to pick up and play when you've got about 20 minutes. Because 9 times out of
Yeah.
10 you'll probably die.
Maybe
I
next
think I
year,
finished.
Mike.
I think I finished it 3 times in all the times I've played it. Because you have to get through to the end, otherwise it resets.
So, like Binding of Isaac.
Yes.
Binding
But
Isaac.
Binding of Isaac
like
was
that
my
for me.
go-to pick up and play game. You see, Dead Cells has replaced it.
Mike, you're number 8.
I'm going to imagine this is higher on at least Tom's, but Metal Gear Solid 2.
Oh.
Oh, yes.
What number is that?
8.
It is also my 8 as well.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
I do not have it on, so you're good.
Yeah, neither do I.
I mean, this is probably the same reason. Well, I mean, it's one of Tom's favourite games for one, but I think a lot of these reasons will be the same as me, where, you know, we played through this and we made the stark observations about how much it actually relates more to the modern world now than it did back when it was created.
Well, it's definitely
Yeah.
interesting to play it as an adult who's now in the adult world. When I first played it as a kid, I'm like, well, I don't understand any of this shit. You look at it now, you're like, okay, I see this, I understand it, and you know, like we talked about on the show, it was kind of prophetic for what was to come.
And we talked to mother frigging David Hayter.
Yeah, that as well.
Yeah. I think that for me that really amplified it. They're definitely having David
I mean, that's
got
got to be cool though, to like talk to the voice actor of your favorite game.
Yeah, it was just that's why it had to be on my list, and it was just that really kicked off the year amazingly. And
That was our first show of the year, wasn't it?
It was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
because
what a-
I was so nervous, man. So nervous.
you can kind of tell with all of us, really, we're kind of
Yeah.
being really well mannered.
I just went back and listened to that show recently though, and it was great. I mean, you know,
It
Yeah,
was
me
our
too.
most sensible show we've ever done.
yeah, we had to dial it back. We almost asked him if he sat or stood for wiping, and decided not to.
Maybe on the Metal Gear Solid 3 episode.
Yeah,
He did say he would come back.
hopefully that wasn't just a courtesy.
I think he seemed to have a good time. He was very forthcoming with his answers and things.
Yeah.
So
He seemed very comfortable.
Well,
Oh,
we're a
definitely.
comfortable bunch.
Yeah. But, yeah, even just even all that aside, the actual gameplay of Metal Gear Solid 2, man, it holds up.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 2 is one of those games back from when we were younger and we used to have so much time and used to replay games over and over and over and over. I was on about Resident Evil 2 earlier. The amount of times I played through Resident Evil 2. MGS and MGS2 are up there as well with games I used to just replay all the time. And I was a bit concerned that I'd be a bit bored playing through it because of how well I knew it. But, I know that game like the back of my hand, and it was still just an absolute blast to play. It really was. And I had much bigger appreciation for the actual story. I actually understood the story this time as well as an adult, and yeah, it still blew me away how great that game was. And I know I played the HD collection version, but man, that looks so good on PS2 still.
Oh yeah, it really does. It
was a great, stunning game for the time. It really was. Like, I really want to play Twin Snakes on GameCube.
Oh, it's so good.
With Metal Gear Solid 1 with Metal Gear Solid 2 mechanics, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I can't believe that game has not been ported to anything yet. Like, what is going on?
Licensing issues, isn't it?
Probably.
Maybe.
Twin Snakes adds some weird
But if they can
stuff,
get
though.
Snake in Smash Brothers, surely they can get that out.
I actually started Twin Snakes this year, but it's got some, like Eric said, some weird bits that they've added or removed.
Like a lot of slow motion karate. Like, he does a backflip off of a missile from a hind D in Matrix mode.
The worst thing about it actually is
this Indigo Prophecy or Metal Gear Solid?
They haven't used the original music on Twin Snakes, which is shocking because the music is so iconic, obviously.
I didn't even notice that. Like, any of the music?
There's some like remix variations.
They had to record all the dialogue again, didn't they? Because they lost the sound files.
Yeah, but the delivery's still good.
David Hayter told us on the actual episode, Dan. Do you not remember? It was because of the how they recorded the PS1.
Oh, it wasn't good enough quality.
It was in like a house, and when they put it onto the sound chip for the GameCube,
captured cars
all the traffic,
and stuff.
Yeah, all the traffic and stuff in the background.
Yeah.
It's like being in Tom's flat.
Exactly.
I think you made that joke on the show.
Yeah, did.
All comes full circle, guys. I remembered that totally. We just lay down the chips and then they just fall into place.
Yeah.
So
I'll be curious to see what you think about the rest of Twin Snakes.
7.
But number 7 for me, hold on, I got to open it up. My first VR game on my list, Moss.
I've bought this, but I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, same.
Tell you what, until Astrobot VR, Moss was the best VR game I've ever played, and it's still up there. If you're looking for a reason to buy VR, I think Moss is a great reason too. It's such a unique concept, and for me at least, it showed that you could do a platforming game in VR successfully. You're kind of this disembodied head, and you're this spirit or this god looking down and guiding Quill through these different scenes. But what's so engaging about it is that the entire game looks like a gigantic diorama where you can move your head around and see different aspects of things, but you're down at the level of a mouse, and you've got this big colossal world around you that you're helping the mouse manipulate. And the combat's not super deep, but just the puzzle aspect of it mixed with the combat and the different scenery, it just really kind of put VR on the map for me. Like, okay, I can enjoy this, and I can spend 45 minutes or an hour plugged into this game.
Yeah, I had similar experience with Astrobot, but might get to that later.
Yeah, Astrobot's on a different level, but Moss is just it's incredible to look at because the level of detail on such a tiny little set. You look at this music box from a huge human perspective, you're like, oh, yeah, that's kind of tiny, but they pull you into this game and you see the detail within, all the stuff inside of it, and you can move the mouse around through it, and it's so cool. It's such a neat game. I wanted to wait.
I'm looking forward to playing.
Yeah, it's not long. It's maybe 4 hours, maybe. But I wanted to wait for a physical copy of it, but it wasn't out at the time, so it's expensive. I think $30 is a little much for the experience, but still,
I only got it for 15 quid. So
there you go.
It came with my VR pack, so I want to get around to it. I think I'm
excellent.
going to play that first before Astrobot.
I definitely would play that before Astrobot.
Yeah.
Because it kind of shows you, okay, here's how platforming can work. It doesn't, the camera angles are all static, and, it's just super neat. I don't want to spoil anything. It's just super neat.
Yeah. Awesome.
Dan, you're number 7.
You and Tom aren't going to like this. Hollow Knight.
Ugh. Is that higher on your list, Mike?
No, I'm kind of in the same boat as you and Tom. No, I gave it a go. I started playing it after I played Messenger. More on that later. But it felt, compared to the Messenger, it felt so slow. I think it's a game I'm going to need to get back to. I think just in relation to the Messenger, it was just too slow and too dark and not enough going on for me comparatively. So I think I need to give it another go.
I picked it up.
For me, it kind of played like 2D kind of Dark Souls with Metroidvania elements, which is just my bag entirely. And I loved the world. I loved the storytelling. I loved the upgrades you get, the exploration. There's so much to find in it. It's a game you have to invest your time in, and I think that's part of the problem people will have. But I played a lot of it when I was on the go, I think, on Switch, like when I was away and things like that, and it was just a great game to play.
See, Dan, I'm kind of in the same boat as you, though, where like I love a 2D side-scrolling Dark Souls like Salt and Sanctuary. That was totally my jam. So I was looking forward to getting into this, and the world just did not grab me. And Metroidvania games are always kind of a hard sell for me anyway. It's just not my jam. So, that kind of, the cards were already kind of stacked against it. But there was something about it. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I just couldn't get into it.
Fair enough. It's not for everybody.
I felt similar, and I tried extra hard to get into it because my brother's put about 60 hours into it, and he hasn't played a video game for years, and he said that Hollow Knight was what got him back into games. So it's obviously a really fucking good game, but I just couldn't I couldn't invest in it as much. It was something I wasn't grabbing. It's also very difficult, and I
think that's part of the problem at the start.
Yeah.
There's a steep learning curve with it.
Yeah.
And if you've been playing something like The Messenger, which you can blitz through, it's going to be tricky.
I felt like Hollow Knight kind of just threw you in, had very little direction.
Yeah, that's the Dark Souls element of it.
yeah.
But I'll give it another go at some point.
Yeah. It's, like I say, it's a game you have to invest the time in, but if you do so, I think you'll enjoy it a lot.
Mike, you're number 7.
My number 7 is The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask.
Ooh, oh, nice.
So this was the last 3D Zelda from I had yet to play. I can't get my words out. It's the last 3D Zelda that I hadn't played.
Have you played Skyward Sword?
Yes, unfortunately.
Oh, man, it's so good.
I need to play that.
Look, the thing with Skyward Sword, not to go off on too much of a tangent, it is a good game, but standing up next to the other Zeldas, it's not great.
It is.
Another Zelda side note. I took my Switch up to show my brother-in-law Breath of the Wild, and I had him start a new game, and I got the itch to play it again. I just don't know if I have 70 hours to dump into it again.
I think I put up 90 plus when
I tried to load up my original
I've kind of been
game.
waiting for it to be reduced for Switch, and it just never is. So
it won't be.
I tried to load up my other game and play through it, and there's too much that I've done that I just can't wrap my head around where I'm at and what I need to do, and I would just want to start over. But anyway, back to Majora's Mask.
Yeah, it's fine. So I hadn't played it. Obviously, Eric very nicely bought me that Zelda 2DS for my birthday. Thank you.
The one that doesn't work in...
yeah, the one that was originally region locked. And me and Eric both said, the first game I have to play is going to have to be a Zelda game. And I was like, well...
I was pushing for Link Between Worlds, but I guess I'll settle for Majora's Mask.
Well, I've bought it. I've just not played it yet.
It would have made your list this year, for sure.
The up-resing...
Yeah, that plot twist at the end is just superb.
Shut up.
So, obviously, the graphics look much better from the N64 version, and this for a Zelda game, man, this thing is dark.
It's real dark.
And you know what? It was brave of Nintendo to come off what is often regarded as one of the greatest games of all time, to come out with what is essentially a sequel. I know it isn't technically, but it is essentially a sequel, and put in the whole 3D mechanic, which I've heard has put a lot of people off originally.
Well, look at what a lot of companies do when they find a new IP and a new formula that works. They just milk it. So I think everybody was expecting, all right, the next Zelda's just going to be another Ocarina of Time, and they came out and went, nah, here's this.
Yeah, and it's just, I went in there blind. I knew there was the whole thing about the whole 3 days. I know it repeats, and a lot of people got pissed off with it because you'd do things and realise you haven't saved, and you'd lose all your progress, and you'd have to do dungeons again and things like that. But I found the entire thing absolutely enthralling and intriguing. Even in the first, in Clocktown, the very first town, like the idea that you buy a lottery ticket, and then that night you find out the lottery ticket number, so that when you go back on the 3 days, you can then buy that ticket number and get that. Like that was so interesting. Even just a little mechanic like that. And then when you're going through the dungeons, when you're getting close to your time ending to go back to the beginning of the 3 days, you feel that anxiety of, you need to quickly get through it. I need to figure this out now. And
you start rushing and making mistakes, like things you wouldn't normally do.
Yeah, but it was great, and I just absolutely loved it. It's not better than Ocarina of Time, but I also think it's so different that you can't really compare the two.
Well, I remember when this came out, my group of friends, we didn't know what to make of it, because first of all, you had to have the jumper pack, which very few of us actually had. And then it just didn't have that same, at the time, it just didn't have that same wow factor as Ocarina of Time, because I think for us at that time, I was, 14, maybe?
Urban
not
golf,
even.
Urban golf.
I was too invested in my urban golf career. The 3-day mechanic just hadn't been done before, and it was just too... It was too much for me at the time to wrap my head around, and I think it was just one of those games that I needed to wait to be a little older.
Fundamental mechanics of video games baffling Eric Peterson. Wow, how times have changed.
I will say this, though. I'm glad I waited until I was an adult to play it. Like, I wish I hadn't waited this long, but I'm glad I didn't play it as a kid, because I think it would have put me off, and I think my opinion of it always would have been all that shit.
So do you think... So you played it on one of the new 2DS XLs that had the C-Stick, which, of course, was beneficial in this game.
That helped as well. Yeah, that helped.
Because that's the first game I played on my 3D. I have the Majora's Mask version of the 3DS XL, and I don't think I would have enjoyed that game as much without that.
I mean, I played through... I finally completed Ocarina of Time only a couple of years ago, and I played it on the Wii U, and obviously that didn't have the 2 analog stick controls. It was still just like playing the N64 version, and it did ruin the experience for me in a way, so I'm so glad that I played Majora's Mask with the C-Stick.
I can't remember if the Legend of Zelda or if the Ocarina of Time 3DS remake uses the C-Stick.
To Google!
Nope, I'm just reading here. It says it doesn't.
That's a shame.
Crap.
Majora's Mask, Mike's one of those games I've tried a couple of times but never finished.
I've never tried it.
It's one I really want to do properly.
I think
Actually,
it's one of those.
I think it's because I've emulated it, and it's really hard to control on the laptop.
There's two ways.
You have a 3DS, right?
I do, yes.
Yeah, pick it up on there, dude. I know you don't, because you've got standard 3DS, right? So you want the C-Stick. Yeah, I think you'll still enjoy it without the C-Stick. Pick it up on there. I think you'll enjoy it.
Tom, I think there's 2 different ways to play through it, though, and there's go in blind and just try to figure it out yourself, or if you want full 100% enjoyment of it, play through it with a guide so you can see all of the neat mechanics that have been put in. Because over the years, people have obviously discovered, hey, here's all of this stuff. Here's how to follow this quest line and this quest line and do this to get that, and it's really complex. Like some of the shit I would never have figured out just playing through on my own.
Yeah. It's genuinely difficult to figure the entire thing out, and I am not too proud to admit that most Zelda games I've played, at some point I've consulted a guide, just to, if I've got somewhere I'm stuck, and most of the time it's usually because I've not looked properly. Like, something will be on a ceiling, I've not bothered looking around the room or something like that. But there were certain parts of Majora's Mask where I genuinely just got stumped, and I had to quickly reference a guide to do it. And then also there's a bit at the end where if you manage to collect all of the masks in the game, you get like a bonus thing at the end. And I was getting close to the end, and I was like, you know what, I actually want to do that because I want to see it. So I did, and then after I actually finished playing it, I went back and looked at all of the things I could have done throughout with the 3 days, and all of these extra bits that you wouldn't necessarily figure out, or without delving really, really deep into the rabbit hole of things you can do. And it's so interesting. It's so cleverly made. It really is.
The clock mechanic's always going to be divisive, though. Like, for example, in Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy 13-3, I kind of didn't like it that much, but I could see why they put it in. It just makes it tricky.
Apparently, Majora's Mask is the saddest Zelda ever made.
It is. I really like Skull Kid. I think he's a fantastic villain. Would you really call him that?
Yeah, well, let's not spoil things. But about it being sad, yeah, so you have the 3 days, and when you get to the third day and you speak to a lot of the NPCs, each day, like, the things they say, their dialogue changes anyway. But when you get to the third day, and obviously the end of the world is impending, and the moon is getting closer, and everyone knows it's happening, you know, you speak to people, and people are like, oh, this is the last day, or they're really upset, or they huddle with loved ones and things like that, and it's so dark.
Mike, where do you think this stands in the pantheon of Zelda games for you?
Ooh, see, it could be because I've just played it, but I think for me, possibly third. Breath of the Wild, Ocarina, Majora's Mask.
Ooh.
See, now do you
Is there a good plot twist at the end, like on Link Between Worlds?
I've not played it, so I don't know.
Do you judge Zelda games like all in one list, or do you think that they need to exist in a 3D and a 2D list?
See, I've only played Link's Awakening. It's the only 2D one I've done. So,
well, that's the best. They're all done.
Well, yeah. Well, I didn't. Well, funny that I instantly didn't even include that, did I?
I don't know. Minish Cap was pretty good.
Minish Cap was fantastic.
Do I prefer Wind Waker to Ocarina? Actually, I don't know. I'd have to sit and think about which ones I prefer. But Breath of the Wild is definitely top. But Majora's Mask would definitely be in the top 3 or 4. I think.
Interesting. Tom, I think you would enjoy it. It's right up your alley. It's quirky and weird.
Sounds good.
Speaking of which, Tom, what's your number 7? Here comes
My
a
number
weird
7
game.
is a game you've all heard of, I'm sure. It's called Little Red Lie.
Oh, is that from Will? The guy that
Will
made
O'Neill.
Yeah, the guy that made Eternal Sunshine.
He made Actual Sunlight.
That's what it was. I'm thinking that was the Eternal Sunshine.
Close.
I was close. I had something about the sun.
Sun, yeah.
I heard he patented Sunny Delight.
Oh God!
It's what did I play this on? I played this on PC actually, because I didn't want to wait for the Vita version, which eventually came around. I think it is a sort of top-down pixel arty RPG. I'd say, RPG is kind of stretching it a bit. It's more of an experience, but it's really a game about today's society, really, like the middle class and financial inequality, and it kind of it's quite a serious game. There's like 2 different players. The first one is this woman called Sarah, who's just working like a kind of office job and pretty unhappy, and then there's this guy called Arthur, who's like a total arsehole. He's a motivational speaker, and he's like really rich guy, and he doesn't care about anybody, he just cares about making loads of money. So that you play these 2 contrasting players throughout the game, but it's just, the writing is amazing. It's pretty hard hitting, but it's pretty relevant to today's like millennials today, like generation rent, not being able to afford to buy homes, blah blah blah. It's just a kind of good commentary on today's like society, and especially for people aged between kind of 20 and 35.
Well, I think Will O'Neill has a really good beat on the pulse of that type of commentary. You know, when we had him on our show talking about the concept of suicide and depression and things like that, it's just really engaging to listen to his thought process behind why he developed the game in the way he did.
Yeah, definitely. He's kind of, like you say, his fingers definitely on the pulse of what is wrong in today's world, and where our efforts are being focused where they shouldn't be.
And it's neat to see somebody take a non-satirical approach to it as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's an actual, genuine, like, here's just how it is. I mean, let's not sugarcoat anything. This is just, here you go. This is a real-life scenario.
Yeah. That's exactly right. It's very hard-hitting, and it's just constantly reminding you in the game, just don't lie to yourself. This is the way things are. And this is what, you know, it's kind of just paints that pretty ugly picture for you, and you can discern from yourself what you think of it.
You know, like you said, you called it generation rent and things like that, but we also are kind of starting to live in a world where people like things sugar-coated. You know, the hard truths people don't generally like to face. So yeah, it's cool to see stuff like that. It's one I completely forgot about. I know we had it on our list. He talked about it when he was on our show, that it was coming out, I don't know, like 6 or 7 months later, and I just think kind of fell off our map.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can pick it up for a few quid or a few dollars on the iOS or Android, and it is a couple of hours at best, I suppose, long. So I would really recommend it if that's your jam. If you're into those kind of like small narratives about something pretty tough pills to swallow, but it's a really good one.
You said it's on iOS?
It is, yes.
I'm gonna look it up right now, see how much it is.
Might be $4 or $5.
$1 million.
Just don't type in Eternal Sunshine. That's the wrong thing.
I'll get a movie. It's $4.99.
Nice.
$4.99. All right, on to number 6. That would be me. Number 6, Astrobot VR.
Hiya.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about this game. I cannot wait.
It's still sealed on my shelf.
Keep it sealed.
Yeah, me too, actually. Well, second-hand version of sealed.
I hate you all.
What the hell does second-hand version of sealed mean?
When they put the sticky label over
when you buy pre-owned at game, they put a sticky label over it so that, like, if you take it back and it's been opened, they'll only do a trade-in, but if it's still sealed, they'll do a refund.
See, GameStop's different, where you have 7 days to return it. So when I worked there, we had people that would be back every 7 days returning their games that they had beaten, just abusing the system.
Makes sense. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I think
that would be me if I was in America.
So yeah, Dan would take advantage of that.
Speaking of Dan, what's your number 6?
My number 6 is...
Who's number 6.
We're on 6, Tom. Eric just did it. Is Interstellar Power Plant Simulator, Dead Space.
Oh, I thought you were going to go Dino Crisis 2.
It is higher on my list.
Oh!
Dead Space, yeah, is higher.
It's not even on my list.
Yeah.
It should have been, but...
It's not on mine either.
Michael, number 6?
Number 6. Now, I know we said about not spoiling games, but this one has been spoiled on the show before. So when I say the name, I'll leave it up to you guys if you want me to kind of speak about spoilers. Number 6 was Undertale.
Ah.
Oh, nice.
So
didn't you go through not liking this very much, then you loved it?
Yes, exactly. So, do you guys think all right to spoil it? You guys spoiled it.
I wouldn't spoil it.
So. Okay. I'll be very careful with what I say. So, unlike you three, obviously slow-paced kind of RPG kind of gaming. I know it's not really an RPG, so to speak. Doesn't blow my skirt up as much as it does for you three. And
what a loser.
No, I enjoy them, but like I don't, it doesn't get me as hard as it does for you guys. But I started Undertale, and the one thing I was always told about Undertale is go in not knowing anything. So I did. Was playing it, and I didn't see the appeal. I wasn't getting it at all. It was the first game I played on my Vita. So I delved a little bit into what about the game, and I was very careful not to spoil anything. But the one thing I got away from what I very carefully looked at was that there's different ways of playing it, because I hadn't listened to your guys' show either, because I wanted to play the game first before I listened to it. And obviously, there's, without spoilers, there's, you can go through without killing anything, go through killing everything. You could kind of go through without, kind of doing a bit of both. And when I first started, I was doing what Eric did, where I was just killing everything, and I just didn't get the appeal. And then I found out that there's these different ways to play it, with avoiding any other kind of spoiler than that. And I started doing the workarounds on the battles of how to do things peacefully. And going through the game, I started enjoying it more. You start getting to meet more characters. You start seeing its charm. You hear the fantastic music. You get to see the fantastic comical dialogue. And I was really getting it. And then you get to the end. There is a twist at the end as well, which I won't spoil here.
Is it as good as Link Between Worlds?
I don't know. I've not played it. For the third time.
No, it's not. It's the best twist ever.
And my takeaway from the game, and especially as soon as I finished it, I listened to the Factory Sealed episode on it. And it was interesting listening to all the different experiences you had. And so Eric, for example, who went through killing everything, my takeaway from your show was that you had a bit of a lesser experience than the rest of us. I mean, I know you enjoy killing things, but
hell yeah,
you had a very different experience, and I think you had a very lesser experience. And my takeaway from the game was
sweet and sour chicken.
You enjoy your experiences a lot better. That was worse than the opticians joke. You take away a better experience from life when you're actually friendlier to people. And that was my takeaway from it. Like, you experience so much. And after I finished it as well, I went back and looked into all the different things about the game. And yeah, it really resonated in that kind of, if you're nicer to people rather than being hurtful and horrible, the world, you have a more populated world around you. People react to you better. Your actual experience is much better. And that was my takeaway from it. And I loved that. And in the end, I grew to love Undertale.
It is a lovely game. I'm very excited for the sequel that's coming out, our spiritual sequel.
Overtale.
Deltarune.
Oh.
It's already playable.
Yes, but it's only like one chapter.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay, I've not touched it.
Yeah, you basically just like kind of did a stealth release and went, give this a try, and then everybody realised it was kind of a sequel to Undertale and lost their minds, and he said it's like nowhere near ready, it's going to take years, but
I'm glad
because he did the original himself with Temmie, who's his friend, I think, and he says he needs a team to make Deltarune come to life.
But yeah, in terms of that kind of slow-paced sort of wandering around RPG thing, it's a bit like Mother, for example. I'm still not hot on those games, but I think Undertale had so much about it when you actually delve into everything it tries to do.
Yeah,
it made it so interesting and so enjoyable. And that music, man, that soundtrack.
Oh,
yeah, it's spot on. It's so good. I think it's one of those games that's just so obscure that you have to play it for yourself to experience why people like it so much. Yeah. It's not something you'd look at immediately on a trailer and go, wow, that looks amazing. You've got to kind of do what Mike did and get into it and experience it. But like when I played for the show, I didn't have a clue about any of it. And when I first played it, I was like, what is this? And then as you get into it and all these mad characters like Sans the Skeleton, I love that guy. He's just so funny.
The writing's really funny.
It's just so funny. Yeah, excellent game all around.
Yeah, I'm glad I stuck with it.
Yeah, I mean, I
was close to quit. I was close to quitting.
Tom, you're number 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is Octopath Traveler.
Interesting. I'm surprised it made your list.
Is it higher on anybody else's, or is it on anybody else's?
Nope.
No.
It was close for me, but
yeah,
I didn't put enough time into it to really make that.
So, first of all, I just remember when this was first talked about, and we saw the trailers for it, and it just looked awesome because it's this kind of like the dub it HD 2D, so it's kind of it's got this lovely 2D pixel art playing field, but it's also got some depth to it and some particle effects, so it makes it look like a kind of this really cool looking modern take of a retro standard that we're used to with standard JRPGs. And I don't know, it just felt to me like Square Enix going back to its roots of like the Squaresoft days and having this like a really traditional like medieval style swords and sorcery RPG, and it's exactly what I wanted, and it's perfectly at home on the Switch.
Yeah.
Now, the game is enormous. I mean, I've put about 40 hours in, and I think I'm only just halfway through, to be honest.
Oh my god,
it feels that way. It's very big, but it's my. We're talking about these games that you'll go to, you'll pick up and play, Dead Cells and so on. This is my version of that, because the battle system is just so fun. It's got quite a lot of depth to it, but not enough to really confuse you or feel overwhelming.
I think this would be what would draw Dan in on it.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you on it, Tom, but
That's
with the battle system, because I played the demo, and the battle system was great, but I would imagine that 20 hours in, it would get very boring and repetitive.
No,
that's the impression I got.
Strangely, it just doesn't. So Octopath Traveler follows 8 different characters, and they're 8 different isolated stories. They don't really cross over, but each of the other characters is helping the other one, continue their tale and solve whatever issues they're having, or finding whoever they need to find, or getting some kind of sense of achievement or whatever. And so each of the 8 characters is their own kind of class. So you have a thief and a I can't remember what the other ones are now. You've got a hunter,
stripper,
hot dog stand attendant.
It's a hot dog stand attendant.
The hunter is probably one of my least favorite RPG characters of all time.
But the hunter, for example, you can then later on you can give them secondary jobs. So you can have a hunter who also has the skills of a thief, or you could give the skills of a warrior to the stripper, whatever she is. There is actually a stripper in the game. And then it kind of fleshes out the battle system more. But I don't know, there's just something about it. It's just a really, really cool game. I'm actually very surprised that you're not interested in it, Dan. Because it's totally up.
I just don't.
I don't think you can judge it based on the visual appeal of it, because the visual appeal is fantastic. That's
I didn't know. I watched all the trailers and everything, and just didn't.
Is the demo still up?
I tried. So. I tried the demo. Didn't grab me.
Oh man.
Weird. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is interesting.
It is crazy. I agree. This should be totally up my backside, this game, but I don't know. It's just maybe I should give it a try. But I've got so much to play. I can't do another RPG.
Yeah, there is so much content that is worth your time that it is tough to narrow in on.
I put 25 hours into it and still didn't feel like I played enough of it to make it on my list.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's huge.
It's a very good game.
It is a little overwhelming at times, though, to kind of know where you need to go and what you need to do. And unfortunately, your experience with it can be a little jaded if you choose the wrong starting character.
Yes,
because you're kind of limited in who you can collect in a certain order based on where you start.
And whoever you choose at the beginning, that person is locked to your party for the duration of the whole game.
Yeah, so if you chose the hunter, your experience is going to be awful.
Well, I did choose the hunter.
Oh, Jesus, 70 hours of shitty dialogue.
I don't mind it, but I totally get that it grates on people.
Yeah, she's so annoying.
See, the thing that's there's 2 things that have stopped me picking this up, because I enjoyed the demo. One is I haven't got the time to play a game that length at the moment, and 2, what you said before about how the characters, their stories don't really intertwine that much, and I've heard that that's a criticism of it. Now, the RPGs that I have played, things like your Final Fantasy, even though the characters all have their side stories and things like that, they're part of this huge overall plot. And the criticism,
I think that's what puts me off. Mike. I think that is what puts me off.
I think
it's all these little tales rather than
I don't want a self-contained story. I want this big sprawling RPG. I'd prefer.
I don't know. I think for this to be on the Switch, though, that's what makes it successful. Is that you can put it down for 3 weeks and pick it back up and just truncate your stories and not have to worry about, oh shit, what was this story arc meshing with this one?
And that's the thing.
I don't do that for RPGs anyway. Pleasant to completion.
If the huge story is good enough to keep you enthralled, you're not going to put it down for 3 weeks.
I think. But if you could name me another RPG that you could put down for 3 weeks and then pick up and still be totally understanding of what you're doing and how to play.
Oh no, I couldn't.
That's the thing, and you're right. In it, I understand. If you, if an RPG is really good enough for you to not take that break, that's cool. But it's like, look at the four of us just don't have the time these days to put in to play a
Dan
90-hour
does.
game in a few weeks. So for me, I need something that I can chip away at, and that is perfect for that.
I mean, I've only done 40 hours of Ni no Kuni 2 over the past couple of weeks.
I mean, maybe the holidays is a bit different, but
No, it was before the holidays.
That was a typical.
All right,
Tuesday
well,
for
not
Dan.
Dan then.
Dan has finished Persona 5 twice, let's not forget.
For your playstyle, Dan, I actually kind of understand why maybe you wouldn't like Octopath Traveler, to be fair. So I can understand that.
Eric, number 5.
Ni no Kuni 2.
Oh, good shout.
Bit higher on your list.
It's not actually on my list.
What?
Ooh, surprising.
A 40-hour game. You just casually slung 40 hours into a game and it's not number 10? What the fuck? What the fuck? None of these games on my list I spent 40 hours in.
It was a really good time sink, but I think everything that's on my list is better. Still. It was good, but I preferred the first.
Who even?
See, and I'm completely the opposite. The second was infinitely better in every capacity.
I have it sealed on the shelf, lads.
Keep it sealed.
All right.
No, I did have it originally on my list at number 4, but I've crossed it out in favour of something else.
So it goes from number 4. Like, you just didn't drop it to 5. You just cut it from the list.
No, because everything else needed to still be on there.
Oh.
Your list was poorly put together.
It wasn't.
Do you remember when we told Dan, like, hey, Dan, do you have your list ready? This was Friday. And Dan goes,
oh, yeah.
Let me work on it. 3 minutes later, done.
Because it was an easy decision once I realised what games I played.
Do you know I started my list in January?
My God.
I didn't start a top 10 list, but I kept track of everything I played this year.
Yeah, I had a ranking that like a chart, and I would like move one down, move one up, move one down, move one up. This has been carefully curated.
Ooh, interesting.
Over a 12-month period. Okay.
Now, hang on though, Eric, you've got Ni no Kuni 2 on, but you haven't played much of it, have you?
I'm over halfway.
So you haven't played much.
I've played a lot of
that?
it. Oh, I don't even know.
Have you leveled up your kingdom?
Oh, yeah.
Have you got an airship?
I believe so. Yeah.
That's a no.
It's been like 4 months, 5
definitely-
months since I've played
It's
it.
definitely a no. You said you
it's
had you
so
had the
good
ship
he can't
last-
remember.
Son, if
Yeah.
I gave you an airship, you'd remember.
My favourite thing about this game is the kingdom building.
See, and that's the part that I was the most disappointed with. I went into it really wanting another fleshed out style of Dark Cloud, or maybe even like White Knight
Rogue
Chronicles.
Galaxy?
Huh?
Like Rogue Galaxy?
Well, Rogue Galaxy didn't have any kingdom building.
Oh, okay. I've not played it.
Great game though. Great game.
Oh yeah, but it felt very structured and very scripted in how your kingdom expanded. You had obviously the choice of who to put where, but you were kind of stuck with, all right, this person can really only go here because their skill set is for this. So it was kind of just a surface level kingdom building. It was neat to be able to walk in. But the recruiting different characters was awesome. But for me, what really made this better than Ni no Kuni 1 was the change to the combat system. I did not like in the first game the Pokemon style to it, where you had to collect different familiars and then level them up by feeding them cake and apples and things like that. To axe that and just focus on your main characters and then collect different higgledies that were more of a passive attribute to the battle made it so much more enjoyable.
Yeah, the real-time battles are pretty cool. But what annoyed me about it was the inconsistencies with the cutscenes and the voice acting. There was so much of this game where it was not voice acted.
You had the
Same
same
as Ni no Kuni 1.
thing with the first one.
The voice
Was
acting in the first game ended almost entirely after the 4th hour.
But that had the Studio Ghibli kind of cutscenes as well, the first one.
Yeah. I don't
Because
know.
they
I
weren't
just thought
involved with
the
the second.
charm in this game, this is such a neat RPG that I think a lot of people...
Storyline-wise, I liked the first better as well.
Really?
It falls apart towards the end, yeah.
I think, yeah, Evan's kind of he's not as engaging as, who's the kid from the first one?
Oliver?
No, Oliver's... Oh, yeah, it's Oliver and Drippy.
Oh, I love Drippy. Drippy is
Drippy's
amazing.
awesome.
And I didn't like the replacement for Drippy in this one.
Oh,
I'm surprised it's not on your list.
No, me too, but like I say, I think everything that's on there is better. I enjoyed my time with it a lot, but I think all these other games are better.
So, Dan, what's your number 5?
My number 5, probably higher on Mike's, is Celeste.
Yeah, higher.
There you go.
ooh.
Mike, what's your number 5? If you say Celeste, I'm going to punch you.
No, it's not. Do you remember you and Tom last year? It happened like 3 times in a row.
Yes.
No, my number 5, and it wasn't until I consulted that list that was on about where I kept track of all the games I played, that I realised it was this year, but I Shovel Knight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, what a great game that is.
Nice.
I don't think I can say anything that hasn't been said about Shovel Knight. Just great retro feel. The platform is fantastic.
Did you play the DLC as well?
I had a quick go on Plague Knight, but I haven't played, not all the way through.
That
So
was
it
my
was
game of the
real
year in
good as well.
2014.
Just try Plague Knight.
But yeah, no, great. I picked it up for my Switch. It was one of the first games I picked up on my Switch in the new year because I think Nintendo had a sale on the eShop. But yeah, it was great. I don't know what else to say about Shovel Knight that hasn't already been said. Other than,
I'm
great
very
visuals, great
surprised
music.
Shovel Knight did not make a full character in Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just an assist trophy, isn't he?
Yep.
Oh yeah, they totally would have been. And Waluigi, where's he?
He's an assist trophy as well, I think.
Nobody gives a shit about him.
Yeah. But no, it's hilarious as well. Great writing. Whenever any of the dialogue against each other, it's just
It's a neat mesh of like 3 different styles of game. It's Mega Man meets Mario 3 meets DuckTales
yeah, for sure.
with some Castlevania thrown in.
And it definitely gave me that proper retro vibe of those old school platformers that you used to play in the 16-bit era, which I've been kind of craving for a few years. I meant to get onto Shovel Knight years ago, and I just never got around to it, to be honest.
I actually
glad I
played that
finally
this
did.
year as well. So yeah.
And why is it not higher?
I know, just didn't make my list.
All right, I'll let you off.
Yeah, but it was amazing.
Tom, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is the Messenger.
I've got it higher.
Alrighty.
I've got it
Eric,
lower.
your number 4.
My number 4. Hold on, I gotta pull my list back up here. This is probably gonna start pissing some people off here, but my number 4 is Spider-Man.
Higher.
Got it higher.
Figured as much.
Not on the list.
Didn't
My
play
number
it.
4 is Super Mario Odyssey.
Which you forgot you'd played until I mentioned it.
Yes, but then I remembered how much I loved it.
Oh, what
I
a
thought it was
game.
last year, and then I realised I didn't have my Switch until January. So, but it
That
was
is my
the first game I played on my Switch, and it's just such a good game.
That is
So
my
long,
favorite Mario game, I think.
so much to do. It's just so fun.
Tom, you haven't played Galaxy 1 and 2 yet, so
That's
reserve
true.
your
I liked
judgment.
this better than Galaxy 1 and 2.
Oh, there you go,
Really?
Eric. See,
Well, Dan's opinion is worth gold.
And all 3 of them are better than Mario 64, so...
Well, yeah, but they wouldn't have existed without Mario 64.
Well, yeah, true, but the general consensus online still seems to be that Mario 64
Oh,
is still
that's-
the greatest 3D Mario. No, it's
That's because people have a
Mario-
nostalgia boner.
Mario Galaxy 1 is better than Mario 64. Fight me.
I agree with you. Can I still fight you? Okay. We'll have a proper slap off. Or a beat off, whichever you prefer.
Can we check how long to beat off.com first?
It's not
I
up
wanna
and
know how
running
much-
yet, but it should be up by
Don't know how
January.
much time this will take. But anyway, Dan, back to Mario Odyssey.
Did nobody else have it on the list?
No,
yeah, this will be the same for me next year when I start putting all the games for that I didn't play this year on there.
Tom's 2019 God of War.
Yeah,
I
Spider-Man.
thought it would make yours, Mike. I did.
no, it was on last year.
Last year.
All right.
It came
No,
out
I will admit,
last
actually,
year.
because I listened to our Games of the Year show recently, the one thing I will go back on what I said, I didn't put Mario Odyssey very high on my list because it didn't seem to be grabbing me as much. I was only playing it here and there. And then
yeah.
literally, like, a week or two after we did that show, I couldn't put it down.
Yeah,
I couldn't put it down when I played it either. It was just great.
Yeah.
I love the open.
Moon, though.
Oh God, I spent days trying to beat that level.
I could just picture you doing it.
See, the one thing with this
horrendous.
game, though, is that I hit a brick wall with it. There was a definitive point where it's like, okay, I'm done. And I just had zero interest anymore.
See, my collectathon instinct kicked in.
Did you get all the moons then?
I did not get them all. I was so close. But the last few were just such a ball ache, I had to stop.
Wow.
I tell you what was...
Like the one where you have to jump over the skipping rope 100 times and things like that. It's just so difficult.
I'll tell you what is a real shame about Mario Odyssey. There was no DLC, like extra worlds and things like that. They could have quite easily done DLC.
I'm glad they didn't, though.
They did that crappy Luigi's balloon thing. But
yeah, there's always the chance for a sequel.
They've supported it over the year because every few months they've added more costumes to it and stuff.
That was the one thing that I really enjoyed. You got to the end, and then the world that unlocked afterwards was basically just fan service.
Oh, yeah.
The Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just, I loved it. Really did. Thank you for reminding me, Mike.
It's all right.
Like I said, I thought it was last year, so...
It's not like only 2 days before I'd sent a message going, oh, listen to the Games of the Year show. Dan didn't even have his Switch back then.
Yeah, but I don't read your messages.
Oh, okay.
Seems to be a common theme. Mike, what's your number 4?
And number 4 is The Messenger.
Messenger!
Is it?
I thought it would be higher.
No, I figured it would be right about here.
Did you say you got it higher, Dan?
No, mine's 9.
Oh, okay.
Mine's 5.
I forgot you said that.
Wait, so is this the first game that's on everybody's list?
I think so.
So this, you say you thought it'd be higher. Yeah, actually. And when you find out what my number 3 is, this will be controversial. I originally had this at number 3, and I swapped it round last minute.
Doslet's 12?
Murder on the Eurasia Express.
Goof Troop.
Gave away my number 1.
Goof Troop.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, we all love The Messenger. I think, Eric, you enjoyed it less.
So, it's not that I didn't enjoy it. Here's my issue, and I'll be forthcoming with this. Metroidvania games...
I didn't know the controls.
...just aren't my jam. I am not a huge fan of mindless backtracking. Now, I'll admit that Dark Souls is essentially a 3D Metroidvania style game. You're revisiting a lot of territory to discover new things. I get it. The 2D side-scrolling games like that, they don't grab me as much. The first half of Messenger, had it ended there, this probably would have been way higher on my list.
Agreed.
But once it flipped over to the second half, it just felt rehashed. The switch to the 16-bit graphic style and 16-bit music was fantastic, and then the story really started to flesh out a little bit more. But the fact that there were so many different worlds that you could visit, and they, for like the next 4 hours, they only give you access to 2 or 3 portals. 2 portals, I think, and then you have to dig through to find them. It just became super tedious, and every time I'd get a hint and be like, all right, it's here up on the mountain, and you got to start 3 levels away and just backtrack through all this shit. It just got tiring.
See, Eric, I'm with you on this one, actually.
Yeah.
I think it didn't need to be a Metroidvania. I think it could have progressed perfectly as the 16-bit style from there. And it still could have flipped into the 8-bit in between.
Yeah.
That flipping between the 2 styles was brilliant, even the way the music changes and everything as well.
Yeah, it's so
It was very similar
it's very clever.
to Monster Boy that we played last year.
Monster Boy.
But do you remember, Dan, I was actually, because me and you were playing at the same time, and when we got to the second half of it, do you remember I was almost like, do I want to carry on?
Yeah.
But I'm glad I did, because like the payoff in the end was great. It's a bit like Messenger is a bit like when you have like, when you're having really long sex and you get to like part the way through and you're starting to get like, oh god, this is going on a while, and you start to get a little bit soft and you're just kind of slapping it against the sides for a bit, and then you get back into it, and then it's fantastic, and then you got the end. Like, it's a bit like that.
Is that before or after you wipe the moisture off with the tissue?
Oh, I forgot about that.
Oh my God, Mike.
Yeah, it's a bit like that.
That's a good way of putting it, actually.
Yeah, you get back into it and it's good.
I don't know. By the end, I felt like I just want this to be done.
I don't know. The writing had me.
Yeah.
Nice hat.
So I really loved that first half. I really loved it. It actually would have been a couple of spaces higher if it had just ended there, or even just transitioned into 16-bit and there'd been another half of the same thing. But and also I loved that every time I went to the shop in the first half, he had a new story. The shopkeeper had a new story.
The shopkeeper is like the MVP of games this year.
It was like this.
It was amazing.
It was just totally like in it. I was just a very rhythmic like gameplay. Like I knew what was coming up, and then as soon as it broke apart and was like, okay, cool, you got these portals and you got to find these seals if you want to, or these little dudes. I can't remember what they were called. It started to like become like you say Metroidvania style, which I didn't even know. That was quite a nice surprise. It was like a big kind of twist. But
had it been more like Celeste, where it was just a linear path.
Yeah.
And then you could choose to revisit the other levels if you wanted to collect those power seals. But to have to retread through the catacombs 5 times, it got tiring.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if you get to a point tough. What bothered me is you'd get to a point where it's like, all right, here's where I need to go. Oh, I need to be an 8-bit version. So then you have to tread back through and find a portal that you could switch you to 8-bit and then tread all the way back down to it. It just...
That did get tedious.
That was annoying, yeah. Because you
it
weren't
did,
sure.
Yet I still collected everything.
Of course you did.
Did you get all those green seal things?
Yeah, I got them all.
Oh my God.
But like Dan said, Shopkeeper, MVP of gaming this year. He was so funny. Like, I've never laughed out loud so much.
See, why did you guys keep telling me to try opening the wardrobe as much as I did? Every time I went in and I'd go through, he'd just tell the same fucking story.
No, you need to stand there and keep trying and trying.
I do, and then he tells the same story every time.
No, he says different things as you go on.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole like conversational arc that goes through if you keep trying. And it's hilarious. I can't remember what it is, but I remember it being hilarious.
I don't know. Every time I went into the shop, I went through his entire... until it started looping, and like, well, I don't really get it.
It does loop a little bit on the wardrobe, but then eventually you do get like another conversation. So maybe you didn't try it enough. I think you have to do it like 50-odd times.
Yeah.
I think you have to press up in front of the wardrobe as well, and that makes the dialogue come up.
I understand how that works.
Just
Eric
checking.
understood something. But no, there's that really funny section in the middle before the gameplay change. I won't say it here because I don't want to spoil it, but like it's one of the funniest moments in gaming this year for me.
I guess it
was good.
Yeah. I'd say it's a good... For me, typically when I go on vacation, usually Easter or Thanksgiving or Christmas, I pound through a game, and this kind of filled that void. It was fun.
Yeah. It was a sleeper hit, kind of. It kind of popped out, and then Mike went, "Play this, everyone!" And we did, and we loved it.
And again, I'm going to be saying this a lot over the next few, and I've said it already, that soundtrack as well.
Oh,
yes,
phenomenal.
very good.
Loved it. And it was developed in Canada. So
Shabba for the French toast, Christy. She scared the shit out of me. She walked up behind me.
Tom, what is your number 4?
we can now talk about Dead Space.
Excellent.
So Dead Space, first of all, I have to thank you, Mike, for bringing that to my attention.
That's all right.
Because Dead Space had me totally hooked. It was my favorite game that we covered on the show this year. I'm not one for horror games, same as Dan. Don't really play many. Don't like having shit in my pants that much.
I love shitting my pants.
But
how come he doesn't get flack for this?
Because he doesn't play on easy.
So he tells you.
I've seen Tom
it's
play
true.
games.
I do not. Now,
Tom plays on European Extreme.
friggin' hell, this game is great. I just really loved it. It made me feel like the first time I ever watched Alien. That kind of all alone in space, navigating your way through this this huge ship that was just being overrun, and you're trying to I like that he's an engineer as well, the guy you're controlling, and he's not going to be totally great at, tackling these huge like creatures and stuff.
Or
but he's
speaking.
just figuring out and not speaking and figuring his way. Typical engineer. And so it makes you feel like a little bit more vulnerable as well, which is just nice. And just the little bits like when you go through an airlock out into space and it goes all like kind of muffled and quiet, and the way the screen kind of is kind of curved, like spherical-ish. I just loved those little elements. It's just such a cool game. I loved it.
What I liked the
really,
most
really liked
about it though was the style of combat. A lot of these games is just dump bullets into enemies until they die. You can do that, but if you actually take time to aim, you can kill most enemies or most of the lesser enemies in 1 or 2 shots by cutting off their limbs. What a neat concept to add to it.
Yeah.
It
That
really
plasma
cool.
gun, that's right up there with the Doom shotgun.
It just the entire game oozes such atmosphere. It really does.
I'm really looking forward to playing 2 and 3. Well, not so much.
I thought I was going to be absolutely terrified by it and I wouldn't be able to play it, but I actually ended up loving it, and I kind of treated it more as an action game than a horror game in the end. Like, I didn't find it particularly scary, to be quite honest, but I loved it.
So the one thing
Tom,
that
I can't wait for you to play 2.
I didn't initially like when they came out with the wiggly arm guy, the basically Nemesis.
I hated him.
But what they did right was that they didn't overuse him.
No, that's true.
I think they did.
I think he only comes out twice, right?
He comes out 2 or 3 times, but I think what works so well about that is in Nemesis, he was always there. So in the back of my mind, I'm sitting here going, fuck, this guy's going to show up at any time, and he doesn't. And it's just like that. You're kind of on edge, like, when's he going to show up? When's he going to show up? So when he actually does show up, it's more impactful because it's not as often.
Yeah.
And then the way that you finally get to kill him, I like how you have to utilize the environment to kill him.
Oh, yeah, like freezing him and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then the jet engines. And
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. And like Mike said, the atmosphere of it all, it just worked. It just worked
I wish
so
number
well.
2 was eligible for
I
Halloween
know.
next year.
I know, I have it on my shelf and I want to play it, but I also kind of want to wait. So it's kind of...
I'm waiting.
Let's change the rule. Nobody will notice.
When do we have to wait until?
I think
2020.
21. Oh, it might even be 2021. I think it's 2011.
So Google.
It came out in 2011. Oh my gosh.
A
We
couple
got
of years,
2 more years. Well, we'll still be doing this.
God. Eric, numero 3.
All right, here we go. This is where things are going to start to get controversial.
Oh, God.
Number 3 for me, Just Cause 4.
Wow, that's
I've got it higher.
Bull. What?
Yeah, no, I'm joking. I'm winding you up.
Imagine.
With the amount of shit that you gave for the first Just Cause. This game,
Sorry.
let me tell you about this game.
That sounds so weird not hearing Mega Man at the end of that sentence.
If Mega Man had an open world with a wingsuit and a grappling hook, it would be Just Cause 4.
What?
I'm just kidding. I was filling something in. The only reason you need to buy this game is that you can strap rockets to a cow's ass and launch it into space. It's the only reason you need to buy this game.
I should probably pick it up.
Oh my god. What
PS
they've
Plus.
done is they've taken everything fantastic about Just Cause 3 and just done more of it. And that's one of the biggest...
Hey,
What's that?
hey, Mike, Tom, do you know why you should play this game?
Just cause, I guess.
Yeah.
Get it? Get it, Tan?
It's the joke that keeps on giving. Yes, I get it. I set up the sodding joke.
Well, I need to make sure that you understand your own joke. Well, that was one of the biggest complaints about this game is everyone's like, well, it doesn't really move the series forward in a meaningful way. And I actually think it does because it takes...
The number went up 1, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. So it takes the mechanics of 3 and refines it. So
Rico looks less like a Blockman than he did in the original.
yes.
I should fucking hope so.
So I'm probably, oh God, I've dumped more hours into this than I care to. It's why I didn't get through some of the other stuff I wanted to by the end of the year. But the new grappling hook system is insanely complex. It's not just, here, grapple this to this. You have different tiers of power-ups per grappling hook for tethers and retractors, and you can attach balloons, and then you can adjust what each of the balloons do when they reach their peak altitude. Do they explode? Do they fly off in a certain direction? The rocket boosters you can actually physically control now, like you're actually manipulating where they go. It's really complex in what you want to do, but the game itself is one of those where you generally have to make your own fun. There's a huge sprawling storyline, and yeah, it's a typical Just Cause storyline where you're trying to overthrow a dictator, and the game doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's actually a really unique take on an open world game. Because not only do you have this big story that you need to attack and finish, but you have this independent army that you're building and moving through the country, through the different provinces. And as you complete different missions and tasks, you gain more forces that you can then move your front line and expand your influence around the country. But one thing that I noticed, Just Cause 3 had this aspect too, but 4, when you're in a province that you don't have control over, you'll see your army moving through here, and then random battles will break out. You'll see an enemy fighter jet come through and start doing strafing runs and bombing on tank caravans, and like there's an actual war happening within this entire country that you're just out there causing chaos.
Just Cause, fuck yeah!
It's so fun. I mean, it's such
America
a neat
the game.
Christy and I have spent hours just laughing at the stupid shit we can do in that game.
Plus tornadoes, right?
Oh man, grappling people and tossing them into tornado is hilarious.
It's got some real cool Easter eggs in it as well. Have you found any yet?
I haven't found any, but there was a recent like mountain climber game that came out that's like a really popular 2D mountain climber that when you find this Easter egg, it turns Just Cause into that game.
Yeah, and there's also one which references Aha's Take On Me song, where if you go down into a construction site, it turns into the video from Aha Take On Me.
I didn't know that.
Because they had the Buster Sword in 3, didn't they, or Final Fantasy 7 and things.
You couldn't do anything with it. Or
no, but it was there.
2, they had a freaking hot air balloon hidden somewhere that you could go into the jungle and find this hot air balloon and just slowly move around. Oh my god,
was it on 2 or 1 where they had the Lost Island?
That was 2. Where you'd fly the jet over it and it would explode and you'd crash and you could find the hatch.
Yeah, that was so cool.
It's truly a game where if you don't like a game without direction, you probably won't like it. Yeah, you have different missions that you can attack, but that's the other thing that they've done. It's not just in 3. What really got tiring was you would have all these different villages that you'd have to go to, and you'd have a propaganda poster, you'd have speakers, you'd have like ice cream trucks that would spew propaganda, and you'd have to blow all this stuff up and then a main base within each. It just got really tedious. You could take a jet or a helicopter, strafe it, blow everything up, go to the next one, rinse, repeat. They've done away with that. Instead, you have...
Good, that's what I hated.
You have different people that provide you with different quests that are completely tertiary to the actual main storyline. One lady is shooting a movie in this war-torn country, and she enlists you as her personal stuntman. And by completing her missions, you get points to level up a certain aspect of your grappling hook. And another guy gives you Tomb Raider-esque missions where you need to find all of these old artifacts within the country. And you do actually go into these tombs and solve puzzles very similar to Uncharted or Tomb Raider. And it's really neat how many different things are going on. And I think they've refined the formula and gotten rid of some of the repetitive nature of it.
Now that's got me more interested.
Dude, it's so fun. I spent 45 minutes blocking up an interstate so I could fill up a cargo helicopter with cows, llamas, and dead bodies, just so I could go up into the sky and dump them out. It's freaking hilarious. It's so much fun.
Oh my god.
So that's my number 3. I highly recommend it. Dan, I think this would be right up your alley. And Mike, did you try Just Cause 3 yet? Did you ever finally?
Not properly.
Okay.
Do you know why?
Just cause.
No.
I don't get it.
No, it's actually because I haven't had time.
I think if you enjoy Just Cause 3, you would really enjoy this one. But give 3... 3 is endless hours of fun.
How come?
Just cause. Oh, in 3, they had a gun where you could shoot people and their heads would fill with helium and float up. Just so many dumb things. My only complaint is that they still haven't put in multiplayer.
Yeah, it
I'm
screams
surprised
it.
by that.
It needs it.
Even if they didn't put missions or anything like that in it, if they just put, hey, jump into this world and dick around.
I was reading up on this after you said it, actually, and I found out a reason why they didn't. Hang on, let me find it. Because I saved it.
Dollar bills?
Dan, intro music?
All right, here it is. Yeah, the reason they didn't put multiplayer in is just cause.
Fuck you. I thought you had an actual.
Oh my god!
Brilliant.
Thank you. I'm here all day.
You may have redeemed yourself as the opticians joke for that one.
Oh, that was good.
Well done, Michael.
Thank you.
Dan, you're number 3.
Arachnid dude.
I'm going
I started typing arachnid, dude. I'm keeping a list so I can see where everybody is.
Oh, okay. No, mine's higher.
I've got it lower.
How haven't you said it yet, then?
I did. It was my
You
number
did.
4.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you even listen?
No.
Mike, what's your number 3?
Number 3, God of War.
Higher. On to Tom. What's your number 3?
We're playing Beat Saber.
Wow.
Yes.
That Tom Regan
Yes.
loves himself a rhythm game.
Fucking love that game. That is why I bought VR, and I am totally all in on it. I can't stop playing it. It is so fucking good.
It's very good.
I played it in the summer very briefly on an Oculus, and that was what wanted me to get PSVR. And I just can't stop playing it. I love it. My only criticism would be wish there were kind of more tracks and more variation of genres. But
I hope they come out with DLC for it, though.
Yeah, because the version of Beat Saber I played had like actual studio albums on it, like from real bands and stuff.
But aren't
I think
those
they
ones
need
that
to create
people have
like
made?
I'm not sure.
I think they are. But
Yeah.
I think what they need to do, if they can get Beat Saber big enough, which I think because it's on the VR platform, I don't think it'll ever be big enough for it. But similar to how Rock Band and Guitar Hero was, where you had the Rock Band store and just they added to it all the time with like actual popular songs.
I'd pay a
That
buck
would
for a
be
song.
amazing. Yeah, easy.
Yeah,
Me too.
definitely. Man, it's just, especially when you have the headset on and you've got the 2 lightsabers there, and like it just feels really good. Like everything about it feels cool. I've actually really hurt my elbow. My elbow's doing it though too much.
This
Yeah,
game
my
was-
arms have hurt for days, Tom,
Yeah.
honestly.
This game was so engaging that my mom is actually wanting to get a VR set just for this.
Yeah.
My brother doesn't even own a PS4. He's only got a 360, and he played it for the first time last night. And we played it for a few hours, and he was like, "I'm thinking of just getting a PS4 for this."
Yeah, it's super
Oh my
good.
god, Eric, I did one of the challenges where you have to get maximum like the distance, and oh my god, it's so tiring but so fun.
Oh, yeah.
And you're just like, even when you're not hitting anything, you're flailing your arms around like a lunatic. You just must look like a right special person.
See, I've not played the campaign yet. I've only done free play.
Oh,
And
dude, the
so
campaign
I've
gets
not done-
so hard.
So I've not
Oh,
done
yeah.
any of that yet.
The
But
disappearing arrows ones throw me like big
Oh,
style.
man.
So,
Yeah,
how
that's
far
tough.
into the campaign are you, Dan?
I'm at level 9 or something like
So
that.
Yeah.
later you get, I think I talked a little bit about this, but you get missions where you have to have a minimum combo of like 26, but your combo can't go past 30. But there's one where you have to have a minimum combo every time of 28 and a maximum of 30. So you have to intentionally miss one. So you're
Oh
not
my
only looking
God.
at the arrows, and you play it on hard. You're looking at the arrows and the blocks, and you're ducking, but you also have to be keeping an eye on your combo counter, and then knowing, okay, when can I miss? It gets really intense.
What I just love about it is it just makes you feel like such a badass. Like, even though you probably look ridiculous to everybody else, when you're in it and immersed in it, you're like, I am like the Jedi Beatmaster. It's just frigging, it's so cool. It's just such a great concept, which just marries itself so well to video games. Like, how has nobody came up with this before? It's just I
was trying to explain to my brother last night that if he's more... If he moves the wands more, he gets more points. And Hazel was on about when she watches me doing it, and like she says that I proper get into it, and that I'm essentially dancing, and she says I'm like a ballerina. So God knows what I look like.
I am as well. Like, my legs are going and everything when I'm doing it, and like getting proper into the beat and things. And like, I love the ones where you slice sideways with both at the same time. I think that's so cool.
What always throws me is when they switch the colors to the other side.
Oh yeah.
I can't do the ones where you have to do your arms the opposite ways. It really confuses my head. Like when you have to do, like, one slices down and one slices up at the same time.
Oh,
Like, it just throws me. I've started getting better at the ones where you have to swap the arms, but those ones I'm just like, nah. Especially when it's to the right and left, and they've swapped round, and I'm like, I've crossed my arms over, but then I flail them back out, and I completely miss them.
We'll have to play a lot of that in January when you guys are here.
Oh, yeah. But the one where you have to do the minimum distance is ridiculous.
I found that if you just hold your hands directly in front of you and just move your wrists and don't move your arms at all, it works fine.
Yeah, that's what I did as well, but I was just like, I must look just bloody, like, I'm not putting in any effort right now at all. I was concentrating so hard.
It's quite a workout. I was sweating so much after the first time I played it. Yeah. But there you go.
Definitely another must-own.
Yes, definitely. I love me a rhythm game.
Very good, Tom. Eric, numero 2.
God of War.
Same.
Is it higher on anyone else?
Mine was 3.
Oh, so we can talk about it. What a game.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on. I've not been the biggest God of War fan through the ages, but this game, there's just something about it that I just couldn't put down.
It's fantastic. It was fantastically put together.
I've
never loved God of War that much, but that game was just how to do a reboot well.
Oh, yeah.
The level of polish, the storytelling, the combat, just everything about it.
This is going to sound contradictory with the fact that I had it at number 3, but it honestly feels like one of those games that is generation defining.
Oh, yeah.
Bit like how The Last of Us was for PS3 generation.
But
one camera cut as well. Didn't cut away from the characters once. Like, isn't that amazing?
Oh, wow.
I think there's a loophole in that. When you use the portal, characters technically disappear for a second. It goes to an all-white screen.
But it's still kind of one shot, isn't it? 'Cause it goes up and then flashes white. But the entire thing is still one shot either way.
Yeah. No, it's it's a technical marvel. And the character conversations, I've always really enjoyed that. Even back to Rogue Galaxy, that's the first game I can really think of that your characters are having conversations as you're walking around in real-time voice acting. But it started to get really repetitive. In God of War, the fact, like, when you get the head and he's telling these stories, if you get out of the boat, he'll go, well, we'll pick this up later. And the next, even if it's an hour later, you get back in the boat, he picks right back up where he left off. Yeah.
Not a single bit of dialogue repeated in terms of the normal dialogue. Obviously, in battles, there's bits and bobs that are repeated. But yeah, and it's just... What I loved about the side quests on it, like, you could go through and just do the story, and all the side quests serve are to essentially upgrade your equipment, but they will build the world as well. But there were certain side quests where how it was building the world also built the characters in little kind of minor ways. So there was, I mean, this isn't a spoiler because it's the very beginning of the game. The biggest tragedy in the game really happens before it, where Atreus' mum dies, and the whole story arc of the game is that they want to take her ashes to the top of this mountain. And there's one side quest where you meet this spirit, and he claims that he can bring people back from the dead, and all the time, all the way through, Kratos is like, oh, I don't want to be doing these side quests. I want to carry on what we're doing. But Atreus is like, oh, look, he can bring people back from the dead. He can bring people back from the dead. And you do this quest, and it builds up that kind of hope in Atreus's mind and things like that. And it was all completely optional, but it still got you still wanted to go and do it. And I think I did myself a little bit of a disservice at one point because I was literally just doing side quests for ages, and I kind of lost the story a little bit, and I didn't pick it up for like a week or so because of it. And then I got back in and kind of did some story, then went back to the side quest, and I think that grabbed me back in a bit more.
I found the padding, the way it was structured, like I found myself doing both, and I think because it's a pseudo open world game where elements unlock as you progress, and these different side quests are available as you go on. And I think the balance was excellent. And these side quests, like Mike said, had enough depth to them that it didn't feel tacked on, like kind of like just fetch quests or anything like that. And I actually thoroughly enjoyed both the story and exploring the world as well.
I think what really drove it home for me, though, too, was Kratos in all the previous God of Wars was just this absolute animal of a man who was filled with blind rage of revenge. He just wanted to avenge his family. And now they drop him into this, and you see a different side of him. He's older, he's more calm, he's more collected, because he realizes, I now have a kid that I need to bring up properly, because I see a lot of my own attributes within him, and I don't want him to turn out like me. That whole story arc right there is really what kept me going. Just in general, every aspect of this game, every story beat was perfectly executed, even right up to the very end.
The voice acting with that, it was like really put that across as well. I mean, there was a very specific point in the game, and don't worry, Tom, this is not really a spoiler.
Right.
There's a section where you need to get something for Atreus, and you're worried about Atreus, basically. It's not a massive story beat, so don't worry. And there's a point where you have to go and get something to do it, and Kratos is normally, he doesn't show his emotions at all. And there's this one specific line that always sticks out in my head, and the voice actor, I'm not sure of the guy's name.
Christopher Judge.
That's him. The emphasis he puts on the end of the line, he kind of goes, I want to save, and he goes, my son. And like, you can show the sadness in his voice, and it's one of the few times you actually hear him, kind of admit to him being his son, because he has this very strange relationship with him, where he wants to be like a proper stern father figure, and he just doesn't put that across, like how he constantly calls him boy and things like that. And it just came across, the emotion in his voice at that point was that bit always stuck out to me.
Well, I like the development of Atreus as well, though, because at the beginning he's this very timid little boy who has this illness, and you can tell that he's wanting to rebel against his overly strict father, and I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to. And then halfway through, I mean, they even showed it in the trailers where Kratos makes a line about there are consequences for killing a god, and at that point when Atreus, like for you, Mike, you mentioned about voice acting, when Atreus hits that and you can finally see that something snaps in his brain, and he's like, how do you know? So it's at that point you can tell, like, Kratos hasn't divulged anything to his family. He's hiding his past, but he's also trying to protect Atreus from his own future. Yeah. I love this game. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's one of those that I definitely will revisit down the road.
See, I feel like I won't. Not because I dislike it, because I loved it so much. I think I want. You know how you are with The Last of Us?
Yeah.
Where you just want it to be like a one and done. I feel like I might be like that with this.
Well, I'm sure the sequel's coming, guys, so you can play that instead.
See, the only complaint that I had about this, though, and maybe this is just how I play games, but as soon as the credits roll, my interest wanes. And there's so much to do in this game after the credits.
You need a bit of Dan Curtis collectathon.
I also need a little bit of Dan Curtis free time.
Yeah. My main
well, you would have children, I did tell you.
Yeah, well.
My main criticism with this game was there were quite a lot of similar battles, like those element ogre things that I can't remember the name of them, those element ogres that you fight far too many of them, for example.
Yeah, there's a part towards the end where you're going through a tower with different levels, and that started to get a little bit repetitive because it was just the same enemy. The enemies that cause the room to go dark and you have to pay attention to where they are, I wasn't a huge fan of those.
Yeah.
But overall, minor complaint.
All in all, splendid spread.
Splendid.
Mike, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Celeste.
Wow.
And I'll be honest with you.
Number 1 is.
I'll be honest with you. This was nearly my number 1.
Wow.
Okay, I love this game so much.
Thomas, Celeste higher on your list?
No, I've not played Celeste.
Oh dear.
So
Play it.
So
Yes.
obviously, me and Eric kind of ghost attacked about this on the show, on the Donkey Kong show, I think it was.
Yep.
Just this game, man. Like, I have never ever known a 2D, essentially puzzle platformer have you so invested in the characters, have you so invested in the stories, have you so invested emotionally.
And it's done in such a minimalistic fashion too. It's not like there's just mountains of plot dump. Yeah.
And then, the big thing about Celeste, and it got a lot of hype because of it, and I mentioned it whilst, on the show, that, the themes it has centered around mental health and anxiety and depression, and the way that those themes are portrayed in the actual game itself. There's like personifications of people's emotions and things like that, and the way that they chase them down, and the way that things that bother... her name's escaping my fucking mind. What's the name of the character?
Maddie,
yeah, that's it. Madeline. The way that the things that she thinks affects the real world and things like that, and the way that I think it's one of the first loading screens on the game. It just says you can do this, and
it's interesting too because it kind of touches on that concept, that misnomer of mental health, where a lot of people who don't truly understand it will just say to somebody, well, it's just in your head, just don't think about it or just get over it. But for the person who's in it and experiencing it, it's not just in your head. It's a real, tangible thing that you have to deal with. Your world fundamentally changes.
Yeah. And I don't want to bring it too much of a downer, but I discussed certain things on the show when we discussed this, and from doing, like, I was very open, and it was one of the first times I'd ever been really properly openly public about that kind of stuff. And this year I've really put a focus onto my own mental health. I've been dealing with a few things, as we all do, and I think this game making me be that open as I did on the show. We always say that sometimes the show is a bit of a release for us. I think the game making me be able to be that open as I was has made me really concentrate on my own mental health this year, and it's changed a lot for me, and for that it's a very, very special game for me. I'm going to hold this near and dear to my heart for quite a long time, I think.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same...
It's amazing that a game can do that.
I'm kind of in the same boat as you, too. This game, I mean, obviously, as we talked about at that time and a little later, or a little earlier in the year, I've been dealing with some pretty heavy stuff this year, and this game also came at a good time for me. It showed that we're making advancements in the stigma behind mental health, and especially from the perspective of males. It's not generally seen as masculine to be forthcoming with your mental health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot more attention on it.
It can be hard. Yeah. But yeah, this is going to be a very special game for me for many years, I think.
Especially since the biggest killer of men is themselves.
Yes.
This is true, yeah.
So.
But sidebar to this, I think me and Eric, when we discussed this, we spoke about how hard it is and how much of a challenge it can be. If that put people off, if you haven't played this game yet and you worry the difficulty will put you off, there is a Dan mode if you just want to experience the story.
Yeah, so Dan probably unlocked more stuff than all of you combined.
Dan nailed this game, but there is... Yeah. But also, I've said this about a lot of games on my list this year. That soundtrack, oh my god, it's one of the few games this year where like I've gone onto Spotify and just played the soundtrack, sometimes whilst playing other games.
Oh, Mike, did you see the news the other day?
Go on.
Celeste is getting new levels in 2019.
Yes. Although I'm a bit like Eric with, once you kind of get to the end of the story bit, like I didn't want to touch most of the side stuff, funnily enough. But
this game for me
was
my
limited runner doing a physical version of this in January, and I'm getting it, and I might not even open it.
This was a game for me that I played in Australia when I was traveling everywhere, and I was just raging on the plane at some of the ridiculously hard levels because I did all the B side levels and everything, and the C side levels as well. And my God, they were difficult, but the sense of accomplishment of actually doing it was fantastic. I hunt thousands upon thousands of deaths I put in that game.
I think I finished with 1,200 deaths.
Oh my God.
And then to watch on AGDQ where these people beat it in like 27 minutes with 0 deaths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's when you get into the really complicated wall jump things and things like that where it gets rock hard.
Oh, yeah.
My internet just took a dump during Dan's long talk.
He was talking about being rock hard.
Yeah, and I think I may have just been talking over him the entire time because I couldn't hear anything.
Perfect.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Sorry. But going back to the soundtrack, the great thing about... Because it can get frustrating in places where you're constantly trying to repeat the same bit and you keep failing. And if the soundtrack wasn't great, you'd get bored of it very quickly. But even as you are constantly attempting things over and over, that soundtrack is always there. It's always there to back you up, and it's always great to listen to.
It also reloads very quickly, which helps.
Yeah.
Like Super Meat Boy, when you play that, that reloads pretty much instantly.
Yeah.
Tom, number 2.
Well, yeah, I would have had something like God of War, I imagine, if I'd have played it, but it's still in the wrapping.
Yes.
So instead, I've gone with the game that I played at the end of January, I think, so it was a while ago. It's a game called The Red Strings Club.
Here we go.
Don't know if you've
I'm
heard
surprised
of
it's got this high on the list until the obscure ones have come out, to be fair.
Yeah. This game, have you guys
Strip Club Simulator, right?
No.
Oh.
No. Good Lord, no.
Oh, I remember you showing me this.
Yes. Have you guys read
I think I remember
Brave
you
New World?
mentioning it, actually.
You guys read that book, Brave New World?
No.
It's like a famous sci-fi book. It basically there's a drug in that book called Soma, and it's a drug that will eliminate depression, anger, and fear, and so everybody's happy and joyful. But then, so the game is like that too. There's this corporation that is releasing something called social psych welfare, which is this system that will eliminate those negative feelings so that people only have positive feelings in their lives. And that sounds good on the surface, but really, you need the negative in order to understand the positive. And so these characters have come up with the idea that actually this corporation is trying to brainwash everybody. Beautiful artwork. It's like an adventure game. It's a Devolver Digital published game, which those games are amazing. They also published Hotline Miami, The Messenger, many others. And yeah, it's like a cyberpunk narrative. Really, really weird in some places. Some of the stuff you're doing, you have to take control of a bartender a few times and mix drinks, and by mixing certain concoctions, you get characters to open up to you about their feelings and stuff because you've mixed a certain concoction. And it's kind of choosing how you respond to people, and it addresses some really serious issues. It kind of reminds me a little bit about, it echoes a little bit about what you were saying with Celeste, Mike. It really asks you, the player, some very searching questions about yourself, and you kind of act that out in the form of these characters, and you're trying to take down this corporation because you're seeing this drug as a sign of brainwashing. This is like suppressing people's feelings. Like, it's okay to be sad, it's okay to be upset, it's okay to be fearful or angry. And it just had such an impact. And as I said, I played it way back in January, and it is maintained. It was actually number 1 on my list until a few months ago.
What is this on, Tom?
Unfortunately, I think you can only get it on PC or Mac. Okay. It hasn't found its way to consoles. It won Best Story of the Year on a few magazines. It's won quite a few awards. It's very well received. I don't know how more people haven't heard of this game. It's just I think it's probably because of its limitations in terms of platform.
I've never heard of it before.
If that found its way onto the eShop or on PSN, I think more people would jump in. I don't even think you can get it on your phone, which is another kind of strange thing, because you could, in theory, play this on any device.
What's the title again? Sorry,
it's called the Red Strings Club. It's kind of a strange name, but it's very strong writing, very engaging, and just a very cool game. I like anything cyberpunk anyway, anything sci-fi, dystopian. It totally right up my alley. So
that does sound awesome. To be fair, I might.
I think you'd really like it, Mike.
Might take a foray into some PC gaming for once.
Yeah, it's not long either. It's about 3 to 4 hours, I'd say. So you wouldn't have to be tied to your PC for very long, because I don't really like playing games too much on my PC either. But yeah, that's my number 2. I highly recommend it.
So now that we're on to number 1, do we want to try to take a guess as to what each other's number 1 is?
Mega Man 11 is yours.
I think Mike's is going to be Spider-Man.
And I think Dan's is Spider-Man.
Nope, Dan's Spider-Man is 3.
Oh, shit.
Yep.
I think Dan's number 1 is Astrobot. Don't spoil it yet. I think Tom's is going to be Return of the Obra Dinn.
Return of the what?
Well, I'm wrong.
Obviously not. It is a game that's totally up your alley, Tom. Return of the Obra Dinn.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. I've sent you
an
article about it.
Oh, yeah, you have, yeah. Sorry.
Eric, yours, I think Mega Man. Mike is... Actually, I think you might say Astrobot. Mike is Spider-Man. Tom, I don't have a clue. Could be anything.
I'm surprised.
Probably something I've never heard of.
When you know the penny will drop. You'll be like, oh, okay.
Nah, that's a Thomas game.
Yeah.
Backdoor Sluts 12.
Well...
So, Eric, what is your game of the year?
My game of the year. Let me tell you about my game of the year. You may not have heard of this guy, but Mega Man 11.
Shit.
I thought you were pulling the red herring and you weren't going to say it.
No, I had to. It's just, this game was fantastic in every capacity.
Wow.
I was excited for Mega Man to come out in general, but I was also a little
predictable,
hesitant.
Eric.
What's that?
Talk about being predictable.
Yeah, but I'm true to what I like. This game was fantastic in that, for me, I feel like it's going to revive the Mega Man franchise. We saw what happened with Mighty Number 9. Now, granted, that wasn't a Capcom-produced game, but it was like the next step forward in Mega Man, and it was just crap. But what they did with Mega Man 11 was so perfect in its level of moving the series forward while also maintaining the level of fan service that was needed. The new double gear system is just incredible. As a veteran Mega Man player, it still took me a while to wrap my head around it, and I found myself getting to certain aspects of the game going, well, shit, this is really difficult. And then it clicked like, oh yeah, I have this new system that I have to train myself to utilize. And the length of the levels was just amazing. A lot of the earlier Mega Man games, you can just blitz through the level really quick, but finding your entrance into the rock, paper, scissors mechanic is very, very difficult in this. Most of the other games have, here's a clear-cut entry to it. This guy is weak to just the Buster Cannon. This game doesn't have that. You just have to brute force your way into it, and I'll admit it took me a lot longer than I had anticipated to actually get into the cycle and start working through enemies. The mid-level bosses and trying to figure out that, they were just little mini bosses that all had their own particular weakness and utilizing different boss weapons to beat them. Just everything about this game was fantastic.
I mean, all Mega Man jokes aside, Eric, I was, when this came out, I was concerned that there would be a disappointment for you. Because, you know, as much shit as we all give each other, we're friends, and I didn't want this to come out and be, you'd be so disappointed. Well, so when I heard that you were enjoying it and how much you were hammering it when you actually played it, I was, it put a little smile on my face. It was great to see that it was everything you wanted it to be.
It was kind of like when Sonic Mania came out for you guys.
Yes.
Because Sonic had that reputation of like, oh great, here comes another Sonic game.
Yeah.
But the other thing too that I think they did really well in this game is that they made it approachable for everybody. By including a shop where you can actually go and purchase more lives or purchase more E-tanks using bolts that you collect. And you don't have to. You can play through the game without all of that and play it as a traditional Mega Man. But I think that's what put a lot of people off to the original series was that difficulty spike. You had X number of lives and X number of E-tanks to get through the game. And granted, if you're really good at the games, you can do that. But this one, it allowed you to ease your way through it. And yeah, I utilized that. I bought extra E-tanks. I bought extra lives. But then they take the aspect of Mega Man X where you can upgrade your character and give them different power-ups, but they weren't just better armor or better gun. They were different features where when you get hit, you don't fall back as far, or you can change the size of your Mega Buster. And just little things like that they were minor tweaks to the formula that I think moved it forward far enough to like, okay, this is where we need to go. And it kind of brought Mega Man back on the map as this is a franchise that still has legs.
I very much got the impression that it pleased a lot of the old school fans, but it was also a very good place for people who've not played Mega Man before to jump in. That's the impression I got. Yeah. I've not played it, but
I think you guys would genuinely enjoy it. The bosses in this game are friggin' hilarious. The only one that I didn't really care for was Bounce Man. His level got kind of annoying because it's just a bunch of giant bouncy balls.
Oh god.
But I think what was really cool was the inclusion of the Yellow Devil. It pissed me off because he's one of the worst Mega Man mini bosses ever, and it's generally where I and a lot of people consider to be the end of Mega Man 1 is you get to Yellow Devil, well, you're fucked. You're never going to beat the rest of this game because it's impossible. So when they said, hey, guess what, guys? You know that boss that you hate? Here he is again. And it just kind of forced you to get over that hurdle of hatred.
He's in Smash Bros, isn't he? On the Mega Man stage.
Yeah. That's
he's a pain in the ass
Devil.
on that too.
Yep, that is Yellow Devil. But to the boss battles or the boss weapons, really quick. I think it's really neat how the double gear system affects those as well, because the double gear system gives you the ability to slow down time or charge up your weapon. And when you use it with a boss weapon, it also changes that. So instead of throwing out 2 or 3 bouncy balls, it throws out a bunch. Or blocks, for Blockman, it drops 2 blocks. And then if you use the double gear system, it just drops blocks across the entire screen. So it gives you a bunch of different ways to manipulate the environment. And then all the challenges that you have through, oh man, the challenges are just absolutely ridiculous.
Guys, you started talking about Mega Man. We're going to be here all night.
This is game of the year.
It's my I think you guys all need to at least give it a go.
I played the demo. And I am a bit of a Mega Man convert after the show earlier this year, let us not forget.
You are.
So, Eric, similar to your question to me about Zelda, I mean, obviously Zelda isn't that huge of a franchise to me as like Mega Man is to you, but gun to your head, if you had to rate this with the other Mega Mans, where would it be?
It's in my top 3.
Wow.
Nice.
It probably goes 2, then X, then 11.
And then 3?
I don't know. Once you get 3 through 6, it starts to get a little dodgy. When we played Mega Man for the show, I played 1 through 6, and I gained a new appreciation for 4, 5, and 6. And a lot of people don't like 6 because of the different power-ups that they gave you. They felt that it was a little too off the beaten path for it, but I really liked 4, 5, and 6. I don't know where I would put those because they're all so similar. Once you get the Mega Buster,
are very similar games.
Yeah, once you get the Mega Buster and the ability to slide, it's just different bosses. It's the same game.
Fair enough.
But yeah, Mega Man 11 is in my top 3.
Wow, high praise.
Yeah. Did anybody really not see that coming from me?
No,
I thought
it'd
it would be
high.
in your list. I didn't think it would be number one.
Yeah, I didn't think it'd be number one.
It was either that or God of War. I thought you'd have.
And I thought, so I thought about that, and I had a hard time putting it above God of War. But for me, this list is about the best games we played this year, not what we think are the best games. This had more of an impact for me than God of War did, because I'm much more of a Mega Man fan, and this game had a lot more riding on it than God of War.
Yeah,
I like God of War. I knew it was going to be a great game, but like you said, Mike, there was that level of apprehension with this game coming out, like, please don't be shit, please don't be shit. And it came out, and it was stellar. So for me, it hit all the right notes.
I mean, what you said about the games this year, the best games that we played, rather than like the best games of the year. I mean, look at me. I originally had The Messenger above God of War, and it was like the last couple of days I swapped those back over, and it was when you were talking about that slog when you first get to the Metroidvania part of The Messenger, and that's what made me think, actually, you know what, maybe in hindsight I didn't enjoy it as much as I did, and maybe I enjoyed God of War a bit more. And I originally had God of War at number 4, and I would argue that's probably low for anyone's list.
There's been so much out this year, it was kind of hard to weigh it up, because of the level of quality that's came out this year. This has been a great year for games. Really
I didn't think last year would be top, to be honest, but
yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So that's my number 1.
Daniel
is Persona 5.
The 73rd playthrough.
I'm kidding. It's not. Eric, you'll be delighted to know that you are correct. My game of the year is Astrobot Rescue Mission.
Wow.
Oh, God. Let's talk about Astrobot.
Holy shit.
We're not kidding, Tom. This game is stellar.
I need
This
to crack that
is
open.
a landmark game for video games. Like, there are times throughout my life when I can remember like landmark moments in my gaming life, and this is one of them. When I put that VR headset on, when I booted up Astrobot Rescue Mission, and I experienced that game, it will be something that I always remember. To just be part of that world and experience the game in that way, it was just incredible. Like, platformer games are ruined for me now.
That's how I was with Moss until I played Astrobot.
Wow. Oh, it's something else. It's so well put together. And so, for those who aren't familiar with it, in Astrobot, you control the character Astrobot, but you are another entity, like Eric was saying with Moss, where you are kind of like this robot who is watching Astrobot, and as you go through these levels, and you move with him through the levels, but you have control over him, and he runs around you, and you can jump over different things and fight enemies, and it just uses VR technology in such a creative way. Like, there's one level where a wave comes and it like smashes over your head.
Oh, yeah.
And things like that, and then you're underwater and things like that.
The music changes with that too. Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah. It's a lot of people have said it's like the Super Mario 64 of VR.
So I was going to bring that
And
up. Like you said, I remember where I was the first time I played Mario 64, and I remember walking into that castle the first time, like, holy crap, I'm in for a treat. Astrobot's going to be the same way.
Yeah, it's just, I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, but the last boss is perhaps one of the most creative bosses I have ever seen in video games.
The boss battles in
is
general are just
so-
creative. Like
Yeah,
the very
but the
first
last
one with
one-
the
the
monkey
last
where
one-
you have to pull his teeth out, or you have to bust his
Yeah.
teeth and then pull his head down into the ground.
What I also loved about it is they make the controller a tangible part of the world as well.
Right.
So you can see your controller when you're in the VR headset, but they've made it kind of look like more futuristic. But Astrobot, for example, when you go into a level, will jump under the under the trackpad and then pop back out and wave at you and things like that. But it's just
What
I
I
really-
really from it as well, don't you?
yes, slingshot as well. Yeah,
Slingshot the robot from the controller.
What I really
Yeah.
like is the other hidden robots that you have to collect. There's 8 in each world, and some of them are super obvious, but the levels are set up in such a way that, Dan, I play this standing up because I move around and look around corners and duck down and look up and behind me all the time. So I think sitting down is probably not the most ideal way to play it. because there are times where you need to completely turn around or something like that to find a character, and they're just hidden in the goofiest spots that really encourage you to explore the world physically instead of just move your robot around.
Yeah, I had to create my head a lot to get around different things. I did stand up a lot and things like that, but it's
the soundtrack
finding all those guys. Soundtrack is excellent as well. Really good, catchy tunes. Every level has a hidden chameleon in it, which if you find unlocks a challenge based on that level. So there's all the core levels. So you get 5 worlds, these big expansive environments, and then you get all these challenges to do as well. I haven't done them all yet.
Have you gone into the space the spaceship and collected all the diorama pieces?
I haven't yet, but apparently they get like really big and expansive and things like that. And but one of the things that blew my mind was just the fact that Astrobot, he's down on the floor, and I looked down at him, and I was not expecting anything to happen, and he waved at me. It was amazing.
Well, and it's so neat too, because the levels are set up in such a way where you're not just following him or he's going left to right. Like, you'll have to have him jump up and go behind you and walk across a beam that comes right in front of your face, and as he's walking by, he'll look at you and wave and then just be on his merry way.
Oh, it's just so cool.
It's really, this is, I think, like Mike said about God of War, there's console defining. You buy a console for a game. If you're going to buy a VR headset, buy it for Astrobot.
Yeah. The fact that this game was getting 10 out of 10s when it was almost kind of unheard of. Not the 10 out of 10, I mean the game itself was kind of unheard of, and it just came out as a 10. And yeah, I've only played the demo. I do have the full game. I've only played the demo, but the moment I started it, I knew that Dan would love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew I would like it, but I didn't expect to love it and it to be so impactful as it was. But I can't even describe the feeling of putting in and being in VR and just being by myself and feeling like I'm actually in that world. Because obviously I tried VR with you guys down there, but to experience it by yourself and be fully immersed in Astrobot's story, essentially, is just something that will always stay with me.
Dan, did you think that 2 years ago you would think that a VR game would be the top of your list in 2018?
No.
That's what I can't believe.
But trying VR for yourself, getting it for yourself, is a different experience to seeing it.
It's interesting to hear your mindset shift, because 2 years ago you were really poo-pooing VR. You're like, this is a fad. It will not last. And, even when I bought my PSVR, you're like, nah, there's really going to be no good games for it. And you were still kind of really hesitant on it. So to see your mindset shift is excellent.
Yeah, I think it's...
Oh, yeah.
Looking back at that, it's something you have to try for yourself. VR can't be experienced until you put on that headset. That's the thing. You can watch a trailer for a game on VR, but that does not do it justice. You watch Astrobot. You watch Astrobot on a trailer, it'll look like a generic platformer. You put on that VR headset, you are in that platformer. You have
Astrobot would
a
have
tangible effect on the world.
Astrobot would have been a great platformer on its own, but the fact that they made it for VR just really lent that extra mile to it.
Yeah. Like little things as well. There's certain enemies that kick footballs at you. You can head them back at them and things like that. And it's just
the only criticism that I have, and it's very minor, is I wish they would have given you more of your tools to utilize throughout the world. You're only given abilities at certain aspects within the game.
Yeah, like the grappling hook and the cannon and things.
Or
that's another thing. The grappling hook, you can use it to latch onto hooks, and then you make tight ropes. But the tight rope comes from your controller, so Astrobot jumps on it, and then you can flick your controller up, and it'll chuck him up in the air and things like that. It's just
amazing.
Tom, you need to unwrap it. You need to play it.
Yeah.
Do I still have to play Moss first?
I would honestly, because I feel like if you play Astrobot first and then go back to Moss, you're going to be disappointed.
No, okay.
Bollocks. But definitely play it. Do not leave it sealed.
Yeah. Just going back slightly to Dan's perception of it all changing, but I feel like the industry on PSVR specifically has changed anyway. Like this time last year, you'd struggle to name 5 decent actual VR games, whereas now you could quite easily, you could choice pick 10 to make an actual top 10 list and leave some out.
I don't
That's
think
true.
VR is going to be the way of the future for gaming. I feel like it still has a lot of shortcomings that I don't think we'll ever fully be able to iron out the lack of true mobility, short of getting one of those stupid stationary treadmills. That's an expensive investment. I think VR has a very firm foothold within gaming, and there are very positive influences it's going to have, but I think it won't become the primary gaming platform.
Well, look at when the Wii came out. Everyone thought that that's what motion controls were the future. And, there is a place in the... I know we all bitch about motion controls, but there is a place for them.
Yeah.
But, when I had a Wii and a PS3, like, sometimes I didn't want to play the Wii because I didn't want to do the motion controls. Not because I didn't want to not because I hated them, but because I didn't fancy playing that at the time. The VR, it's a different controller in a way. And sometimes I enjoy playing
the
VR,
Move
sometimes I
controllers.
don't.
Well, look how quickly Sony dropped the 6-axis.
Yeah.
People just want to play a game. Go back and play the original Uncharted. How annoying is it to have to balance Nathan Drake every log you walk across?
And the grenades.
Yeah.
How far you throw them and stuff.
Yeah. But I love the Move controllers in VR. I've only had them a few days. Like I said, I don't like having immediate fun. But
there's some days you just want to sit down and play a game and not have to be moving.
Oh yeah, there's sometimes I don't play on VR at all,
Yeah.
like in a day. But then I might sit down and play like Spyro or something like that, And then, but there's some days, like I was playing Super Hot yesterday with the Move controllers, and the fact that you can when you're in it, you kind of forget you're holding the Move controllers, and they feel like an extension of your hands. Like in Super Hot, for example, you can pick up a gun and then aim at people, shoot them, then, for example, pick up a knife, throw that at someone, and then bonk somebody on the head with a hammer. It's just brilliant.
I really hope that in the next iteration, whether it's PS5 and then PSVR 2, they give you gloves that can manipulate and show different fingers on there, and you can
That
pick
would be
stuff
amazing.
up. I think that's where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep. Anyway, that is my game of the year.
Nice.
Mike, tell us about
Yes?
yours. I know what it is.
So, my game of the year is Goof Troop. No. No, it's obviously Spider-Man.
Obviously.
Yeah, it's obviously
it was going to be
Spider-Man.
Persona 5.
No. I mean, right, Spider-Man games over the years, they've toed and froed. I mean, Spider-Man 2, the one that linked to the movie, was it was great. I think if we actually went back and played it, would it be? I'm not sure, because I wouldn't let Dan play it for the show.
Asshole.
But no, in all seriousness, this is not only the best Spider-Man game of all time, this is potentially the greatest superhero game of all time. The way
Controversial.
I don't think it's controversial.
No.
Coming
Don't
from
get me
somebody
wrong.
who's I generally don't care too much about superhero games, this game was incredible. And I am not a Spider-Man fan. I loved this game.
As a fairly big-ish Spider-Man fan, as I said on the show when we spoke about it, I'm not exactly a super fan. I don't know the complete ins and outs, but he is my favourite superhero. And going back to what Dan said, controversial, because I'm guessing he's on about Arkham. Yeah, Arkham is fantastic. Makes you feel like Batman, but there are parts of that don't feel very Batman-esque. I've mentioned on the show before about how sometimes the battle system in Arkham doesn't necessarily always feel like Batman, because he's this huge hulking figure, and sometimes he's doing these fucking huge cartwheel flips across the room. It just didn't feel like he had that heaviness all the way through, whereas this, that kind of combat was made for Spider-Man. You honestly, every single time you were fighting in that game, it could get a little repetitive at times, but you felt like an absolute badass. You could flip off jump off the walls, use all your little gadgets and everything like that, and it just made you feel incredible. And I remember Hazel was watching me play it, and she was like, "You're really good at this." And I was like, "No, it's so simple to do everything in it. You feel such a badass, and you do everything in it so well, and they nailed the controls, so it's all so simple to do. It could be very complicated, but it's not." And
it was the web swinging for me.
Yeah.
That was the highlight. They
nailed
it. A Spider-Man game lives and dies on its web swinging. And there's a die-hard community of people who would know if something was wrong, and they absolutely knocked it out of the park.
They did, and just the traversal around the city with the swinging, There was fast travel in it, but you very rarely used it. I mean, I think the most time I used it was to get a trophy, because I think you have to use it 5 times
that's
to
me
get
as
a trophy. And a mission would be all the way across the map, and you wouldn't, other games like, oh, I've got to go all the way over there. Be like, oh yes, I get to go all the way over there, and stop some crimes on the way. And
I don't think
you could just play the game for an hour, swinging round and have fun.
Yeah,
that's how it is.
I think I only used fast travel a couple times.
And the way the music swells with when you get up in the air. So if you land on a building, the music stops, and then like the moment you start swinging, it's starts to creep in again. And as you finally get swinging through the air, it just swells to this huge like crescendo and like the huge kind of string-based superhero music. And the story was great as well. It did what Arkham did, where it took ideas from Spider-Man and then created its own universe rather than trying to link itself to a movie or to a cartoon or anything like that. It just created its own stories within it, and I think that was the right way to go.
Yeah, it's very much Insomniac Spider-Man with Marvel's blessing.
Yeah.
And that's why it's a unique kind of entity.
As someone who...
Yes.
Oh, sorry, my internet's being funny again. No, as someone who knows like a lot of I know like quite a few of the stories that they took from in the game. It was really nice to see their spins on it. There was bits you'd expect and then bits that surprised you, and it was this really nice balance of that. And the great thing about it is now is Insomniac Spider-Man is actually getting its own comic book, so that's being linked. And in the most recent Spider-Man film, Into the Spider-Verse, like the costume from it is actually an Easter egg in it that you see in the background as well.
Okay,
so it's
cool.
nice that they're getting that recognition.
Nice.
And then going back... Sorry, go on.
No, it's all right, Mike. You go ahead.
Oh, and then going back to what we were saying about God of War with the voice acting, like this game, like every single bit of dialogue is incredibly performed.
Well, I felt like I was watching a movie every single time something came on.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a really good Peter Parker. That's what the thing is. Spider-Man is Peter Parker and Spider-Man, and they nailed both aspects. That's why it differentiates itself, I think.
Yeah, and I said that on the show that a decent Spider-Man needs to be a decent Peter Parker as well. And we've been really, really lucky these past few years where we had a fantastic new live action Peter Parker Spider-Man in Tom Holland in the in Spider-Man Homecoming and Infinity War, and then I don't know the actor's name in Spider-Man the game, but he absolutely nails it. And then also recently, I said about the most recent Spider-Man film, the animated one, in my opinion, is arguably the best Spider-Man film ever. You get a great Peter Parker in that as well as a great Miles Morales, and it's just a really, really good time to be a Spider-Man fan, and the game really encapsulates that.
Spider-Man, Insomniac Spider-Man, also holds one of the only games in history that has made me cry. Like, the storytelling is that good.
My internet dumped again, sorry. What did you say?
I said Spider-Man made me cry like a little girl.
Yeah, me too. That's what I thought you said, but me too. It's sad.
Yeah. It is, but it was very, 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 very good. The only reason it is not higher on my list, Mike, is I felt some of the collectathon things were a bit excessive. And I got the Platinum Trophy, don't get me wrong, but I felt like it was a bit of padding. I think the side quests could have been better.
Yeah, some of them. But again, for me, as soon as a new side... Because, it gave you the side quests as you went through. It didn't give you everything straight away. As soon as I got a new side quest, I went and did it, then went back to the story. Then the new side quest, I'd do the entire thing. So it was that traversal again. That traversal made me want to go and do them. It never felt like a chore to go and do them. But I see your point.
That's why I kept going with it, because I loved the moving around the city and stuff like that. But at times it made me like... Because, for example, on Arkham City and Arkham Knight, I loved the side quests. I thought they were really well done. There was a lot to them. And these ones just kind of felt like just not much effort, really.
Yeah, no, I see what you
Something
mean.
to work on for the inevitable sequel, no doubt.
Yeah. They followed it up with some great DLC as well. They did those 3 parts. I know you didn't bother, but like the first and third one's great. The second one is a bit kind of by the numbers, but the first one has a lot of interaction with Black Cat on it, and One of the greatest things about the dialogue and the writing in this game as well was the personal relationships. So, in the main game, there's bits where you're in the middle of rescuing people and Peter and Mary Jane are having an argument, or like you see him like awkwardly texting her after a mission and things like that. The relationship that he has with Black Cat in just a DLC pack is, the writing doesn't stop there. They still put all of the effort in, and he starts having all these issues with Black Cat that are personal issues as well that are stemmed from their history, and it was nice to see that they still put all that effort in on that rather than just kind of milking out this DLC.
I liked all the references to Spider-Man history and things like that as well. Like, for example, anybody who's played Spider-Man 2 will remember the infamous missions where you had to rescue a balloon from a child who always lost his balloon, and there's a little Easter egg in that referencing that and things like that, and I just thought that was great.
I've not found it myself, but apparently you can, if you go up to a certain building, you can hear, the music that used to play while you're doing the pizza missions.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, apparently you can hear that.
There's also, Spider-Man at one point says he's only got 3 chest hairs, and if you put on his shirtless costume, he only has 3 chest hairs if you zoom in. It's just brilliant.
But yeah, to sum this up, this was my number one game because this was the game I just outright pure joy was all the way through this year. I was smiling for a lot of it.
I'm glad I picked it up because when it was first announced and you guys were all up about it, like, I just really don't want to play that. I'm super glad I bought it.
I played it for the first time last night.
And?
It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
That first time you jump out the window, it's just awesome.
It was amazing because it kept... obviously, I'm at the beginning of it, so I finished the first mission, if you like, and then it's like, oh, now go and do this, and oh, look at this. It didn't give me a moment to actually quit. I was like, okay, I'll do that, and then I'll stop. Okay, now I'll just do that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love games like that where you want to stop, but you don't want to stop.
Just kept
I've been
looping.
doing it with Smash over the past few days, like just one more level on World of Light, kind of. And then next thing I know, it's an hour later. It's great.
Wow.
All right, Tom, let's hear what obscure game you have.
Oh, yeah, all right. Fucking hell. Here we go. My number one is Quantic Dream's Detroit Become Human.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
my mom just finished that game, and she said it was fantastic.
Yes. So it's hard to not talk. I won't talk too much about it because obviously it's almost entirely story, so I don't really want to spoil anything.
Yeah, I'm still very early in it.
Yeah, but what I will say is it's basically, if you don't know the premise, humans are exploring a future where artificial intelligence has reached the point of sentience. It's too late for humanity to back down from understanding the complications that arise when consciousness develops inside these new androids. And the androids want free will. They've been given such consciousness that is now ethically not right for these guys to be treated like slaves, because they're essentially serving humans in this world. The year is 2038 in Detroit, and that's the only purpose that androids exist, is to serve humans. And so when you begin the game, you control, I think it's 3 different androids of all different backgrounds. So you have like one who's like a servant to a really rich guy, and one who's like a cleaner, and then you have one who's actually a police detective assisting other humans in like police investigations.
He's so cool.
And yeah, it's just, I don't know. It paints humans in such a light that we are just such shitty people, because it's totally imaginable that this would happen, that we just, we give something life and sentience and a conscious and a meaning and a purpose in life, but we don't think that they're real and that they don't feel pain or empathy, and we don't care how they're treated, but really they do feel this way. And so it kind of it blurs this line here between, okay, what is an object and what is actually a living, breathing thing, so to speak. So it's just, as with all David Cage's games, it's sort of a choose your own adventure, really. Just like choosing how you respond to things.
But this one even more so.
Oh yeah, definitely. the decisions are really every decision they've made a decision to make every decision quite impactful rather than just nothing. Like it feels like you're always under pressure and there's a lot of tension.
Can I still press X to Jason?
No,
there's no Jasons. Even as simple as the first mission when you are playing as the detective android. Everything that you do before you go out and engage the guy who's holding the kids hostage affects your percentage of success.
That's right.
Now, just because your percentage is at 99% success rate still doesn't mean that you're going to succeed, because you have to utilize the information that you have found while looking at different items and objects and talking to people within the apartment before you walk out onto the rooftop. It just gives you more prompts and choices to increase your chances of a positive outcome.
Yeah, totally.
And what's really cool is you get to the end and it shows you this big web of, here's the route that you took, here are all the other routes you could have taken, here's all the ending. It doesn't tell you what they are, but you just see how interconnected this is. Like, writing this must have been an absolute headache.
Oh, I saw on David Cage's Twitter, he posted a picture of the flowchart they used to write this game, and it is like spaghetti. It is ridiculous how many different ways this can go.
Jesus.
It must have taken forever. I mean, I remember the Project Kara demo from like way back when. And it's so cool they managed to finally bring this to life. What really shines through are just some of the simple details and props that are dotted around. So in almost every chapter, there's a digital magazine that can be read and interacted with by swiping the touchpad on the PS4 DualShock.
Yep.
To like turn the page. And there's like news headlines of conflict, politics and environmental issues and ethics. Like, it's all relevant to the world that's been built. And another neat touch is that when you load the game up, there's this android's face that greets you onto the main menu and just tells you about all the options and stuff, as if she's like serving you playing the game. And what you notice, and this isn't a spoiler, but it's just every time you boot the game up and you've progressed a little bit on the story, you notice her behavior changes.
Press up and X to select Dan mode.
Yes. And she's like, because the whole thing is about these androids that are known by humans as deviants, and she's starting to question, like, even just the main menu, like, android is starting to question her, like, role in this world. Is this all I'm good for, is telling people to choose easy mode or normal mode?
It's very Blade Runner, this game.
It's very, totally. Man,
it sounds pretty good, actually. I might pick it up.
It's real good.
And it's one of those games, I just bought it when it came out because I just really, really wanted it. I'm a big fan, but it's one of those that you can pick up definitely for less than £20 now. I think those games always get heavily reduced.
Yeah, I think I grabbed it for $15 on Black Friday.
Yeah, it's very mid-tier, and it's not for everyone and all that kind of stuff, but it tells a really interesting story. The chapters have a solid structure, flowed nicely. Every scene is... All the stressful scenes of trying to achieve something within a tight time limit would be shortly followed by a more relaxed and emotional dialogue scene between, like, Kara, who's the main female android, and she's got this, like, little human companion, and she's trying to, she manages to try and convince this little girl, like, not all androids are bad, and that we can live in harmony. And it's very much trying to bring humans and androids together. And I can't go any further without spoiling, so I'll just kind of leave it there. But I think you guys would really like it. I think loads of people would really love it because it's very relevant to the future of AI and where we're at today.
Well, and even some of today's current brightest minds have said our biggest threat in the future is AI.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't need to fear nuclear war. We need to fear AI. Like, we're getting into dangerous ground with it.
Because as cool as AI is, as soon as it's in the wrong hands, and inevitably that's just the human condition, isn't it?
Yep.
we fuck things up.
Take it to a point of no return.
Yeah. So.
And then you keep going and it becomes factory sealed.
Yeah.
It's by no means the best game, but it's definitely my favorite game that I played this year. Like, it just was really, really good.
See, I'm going to pick this up, I think, for a I'm going to pick this up for Hazel. I mean, we played the demo together and she seemed really into it. But we, last night, we watched, I don't know if you guys know, but this sounds like going on a tangent, but it is linked. The new Black Mirror episode, Bandersnatch, that's on Netflix.
Oh, yeah. Love Black Mirror.
And there's 5 different endings, and as you go through, you make choices, like on Detroit. So, like, while you're watching, it comes up on the bottom of the screen, like, this isn't a spoiler, so, like, the first choice you do on it is which cereal does you want to eat for breakfast. And all the way through, you're making all these choices, and, like, you end up getting all these different endings and stuff. And we sat for, apparently it can be as short as, like, 45 minutes or as long as, like, an hour and a half if you just do one kind of sitting. Me and Hazel watched it for about 2 hours last night, and we had a look. We got, like, 4 of the 5 endings. And when we went to bed straight afterwards, I don't even know what time Hazel went to sleep because she was laid there with her phone in her hand, just looking at all of the Easter eggs, all of the choices, all these things going through. And I said to her, "What time did you go to sleep?" She's like, "I don't even know." And like the first thing she did when she woke up this morning is like, "Oh, can I tell you about this? Can I tell you about this?" I was like, "Can I please just wake up first?" But I think she'd love to play Detroit. I mean, I know she's played Heavy Rain before in the past, and she enjoyed that, and I think this would be the perfect game for her to jump into because.
See, I enjoyed Heavy Rain, not so much Beyond Two Souls.
Yeah, Beyond was a little.
Oh, Beyond wasn't a good game, unfortunately. It was just they had some good ideas, but it just didn't work very well. And also, during the QuickTime event scenes in Beyond, they didn't use button prompts. You just had to like kind of guess based on the way the character models moved, but it was always very difficult. They fixed that again for Detroit, so it's more like Heavy Rain with proper button prompts. They're still a bit funky with the movement controls. I don't think they've ever nailed that, to be honest with you. It suffers a little bit of that thing where when
you stand up half off a seat and you haven't pressed the analog stick enough, and then they're hovering midair, and you're kind of like, "Will you stand up? For God's sake!"
Or like when on Resident Evil tank controls, when you go round a corner and suddenly your perspective changes, where up is no longer forward, it's like right or something. There's a bit of that where the camera switches a bit strangely, but small things like that. But it doesn't affect the story, and that's really why you play those games.
And that's our top 10.
That's it. That's it.
Guys, you know what game wasn't on anybody's list?
Final Fantasy 9.
Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, but also Final Fantasy 9, which surprised me.
Yeah, and Final Fantasy 8
or 7.
Crash Bandicoot. I'm trying to think now.
Onimusha Peas didn't make it.
Hitman.
I was surprised the Spyro remake wasn't on yours, Dan.
Yeah, it's all right.
So, in the interest of time...
We only played it recently, though, so it's kind of...
Red Dead Redemption, I can't believe that was not on anybody's list.
To touch on that quickly, I mean, it's a cool simulator as a game. It kind of...
sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'm still going to buy it, I think, but wow.
Well, I finished it. I enjoyed it, but it's, as they say, it's a bit cumbersome to play as a game.
Yeah. It's a really cool simulator.
It would have been better if they toned down the realistic simulation of it.
As a technical marvel, awesome. As a game,
Yeah. I traded it in 3 weeks after buying it, and the last week of it, I didn't even pick it up because every time I thought about picking it up, I was like, I just really don't want to. Like Eric said, technical marvel, like an achievement in gaming, but I wasn't having any fun whatsoever.
Yeah. So, in the interest of time, let's kind of blitz through a couple things here. Let's talk about our couple honorable mentions, worst game we played, and biggest disappointment.
Do you want to go in the same order? Do you want to go first, Eric?
Yeah, so my honorable mentions were Final Fantasy IX, Illusion of Gaia, Red Faction Remastered, Burnout Paradise Remastered, Corpse Party, and Super Smash Brothers. I couldn't put Smash on my list because it's a party game. Like, it's not, to me, it's something that you do with friends. It's not a game you sit down and play in that capacity. Like, I don't care about World of Light at all. I played it to unlock all the characters, so when I have friends over, we can play Smash.
Yeah.
Oh, and Mutant Football League.
On the Genesis?
No, the PS4. The Genesis one was Mutant League Football. This is by the same team, but they didn't own the IP rights, so they called it Mutant Football League.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Dan, your honorable mentions.
Not many, really. Ni no Kuni 2. I would say Persona 5 again, because I did play New Game Plus this year. Maybe Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on Switch. I enjoyed it. I haven't finished it yet. Final Fantasy 9. I enjoyed Onimusha. I thought Onimusha was quite good, but not good enough for the list. Possibly Metal Gear Solid 2 and maybe Stranger's Wrath as well.
Oh, nice.
Ow!
Let's not start this.
Oh, stranger! You didn't make the Game of the Year list!
You stinky turd!
You stinky, stupid Steve!
Mike, your honorable mentions.
So this was on my Game of the Year list last year, but I finished it in January. South Park Stick of Truth. Fucking hilarious. Binding of Isaac. I bought it on a whim on Switch, and it was my go-to, just pick up and play on my Switch for ages. I had these all in my head, and I can't remember. Oh, Smash. Same reason, Eric. I couldn't put it on a list as much as I'm enjoying it. And Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Ragsy?
For me, honorable mentions, Smash, for the same reason as you guys. Florence was on there. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Great, just didn't make the list. And then I've put down here Persona 5 as well, because I'm about 20 hours in, but not enough to put on the list. But
Boo.
I sense it being on a future list then, don't worry.
Good. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
It is good. It's big. Long.
It is.
Hard.
It is.
Worst game we played. I'm probably going to offend a lot of people here, but I'm going to say Bully.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. I did not enjoy my time with that game.
Yeah, that's fair enough, man.
Looking back
Yeah.
over the 50 some odd games I played this year, it stands out as my least favorite one that every time I sat down to play it, I'm like, I don't want to be doing this.
Yeah, that's not a good sign.
Yeah.
Fair enough. That's the worst game you played, or was that the worst game you played this year?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dan?
Full Throttle. Hated it.
Because you didn't know how to play it.
I just hated it. It was terrible.
I totally forgot you guys played that. I didn't play it. I was moving countries at the time.
Yeah, a string of shows where you were emigrating.
Yeah. And also Bully.
Yeah, see. All right, Mike, you? Has he gone?
Mike.
Hello. Sorry, Eric. Just Cause 1.
I could see that. Yeah, it's a jank.
Oh yeah, add that to my list as well.
Fucking terrible.
It's a janky game, but it spawned a phenomenal series.
It's terrible to play though.
Tom, what about you?
I didn't play too many terrible games, but I did play Destiny 2, and that was my worst game this year.
Yes, thank God.
Played the first hour, and I just thought it was total fucking garbage. I'm sorry. I imagine it's fun with friends, with which I have zero. So
It is pants. It is pants.
my God,
There's one thing I learned from that is never listen to an Eric.
I wish I knew what the pull was, but I just didn't grab it. Whatever it was,
You have to play it with friends.
Yeah,
That's
like
the
it.
pull.
Good Lord, good
Yeah.
Lord. Yeah.
Biggest disappointment for me was Sea of Thieves. I was really excited for that game, and when it came out, this is
I think you
boring.
were having fun with it online.
Yeah, Zach and I played the beta. I'm like, this has some great potential, and then it came out, and it was exactly like the beta. I'm like, well,
Oh no!
how often do I want to
Eric.
just float around in a ship and what?
Haven't they No Man's Skied it and it's like been patched to fuck and it's a completely different game now?
I think it's still a bit janky.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, because it's on Game Pass, and I was thinking of maybe playing it with you one night.
I'd download it and play it with you. You have to play it with people of a like mindset. It's just when you get dropped into this random world, there are going to be people who have bigger and better ships and are better at the game. And they just come by and assault you. And there's really, at least when I played it, there's nothing to do other than float around and maybe find some treasure on an island. It's just a big disappointment for me. I had higher hopes for it. Daniel?
I don't think I've had many disappointments this year, to be honest. I would say, from the factory sealed shores, my biggest disappointment... What was I going to say? It's gone.
Just Cause?
And then, well, yes, that was quite disappointing, but Devil May Cry.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I didn't hate it, but I expected more from it.
I feel the same way about that, actually.
And I could fill your dark soul with light!
Mike, what about you? Biggest disappointment?
We've already touched on it, but Red Dead. Like, I wasn't caught into the hype, but I pre-ordered it last minute because I thought it was going to be absolutely phenomenal, and just how dull I found it. It was, massive disappointment.
Aww. I had two disappointments this year. First one was Mafia 3. I'm a huge fan of the Mafia series. The first two games I loved, and the third one, it's sloppy. It looks gorgeous, but it's super sloppy.
I liked the setting in it.
Yeah, and the time period and everything. They nail quite a few bits, and the writing is great, but the gameplay it was so repetitive and shitty. It's really lazy.
That's too bad.
So I gave up after a bit. And then the other disappointment was Lost Sphere. It's like from the same guys that did I Am Setsuna, and oh my god, they totally fucked it. That game sucks.
Well, they should have made I Am Urge and be done with it.
Yeah.
I have one more honorable mention that I actually just finished over the holiday season. It was Donut County.
Oh.
It's basically reverse Katamari, where you play as a whole and you suck things up. It's only about an hour and 45 minutes long.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard that's very good, actually.
The thing that pissed me off about it is I didn't want to play it on my phone, so I bought it on Switch for almost triple the price. It was $12.99 on Switch, $4.99 on phone. It's
wow.
Should have bought it on phone then, mate.
I should have, but I wanted it on my Switch. So, let's see here. One game you wish you'd played this year.
Yeah, go on.
Just Cause 4, maybe.
Sorry,
Eric.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that.
I wish I played A Way Out.
Yeah.
And God of War. Yeah.
I kind of wanted to play Detroit as well.
I wish
I forgot about it.
I would have
think
played.
Detroit's on there for me.
Mine would have been Return of the Obra Dinn. But it's only on PC, so.
Shadow of the Ombrada. I've got it. I got it for Christmas, but I haven't even opened it yet.
I would have said Tetris Effect, but I started playing it last night.
I thought Watch
Save it
Dogs
for
2
next
might be
year.
on your list, Dan.
What, sorry?
Watch Dogs 2.
I've played it.
I thought it might be on your list, though, for, like, one of your favourite games this year.
Really?
I don't know. You played it and you loved it.
And I didn't.
Oh.
Where'd you get that from?
I thought you said you loved it. Because you were chatting about it.
I was replaying it and kind of... It's alright. It's just... I feel like that series is just a bit meh.
Yeah. Fair
The
enough.
first one was a bit meh. The second one's a bit meh.
Guys.
Yes.
Should we get to some favorite memories of the year?
Yes.
we all knew this was going to be a long show, so we'll kind of not blitz through this, but we had some listeners share their favorite moments throughout the year, and we just kind of wanted to add to that. We each have kind of some of our own favorite moments, and then a few little housekeeping issues at the end, and then we'll wrap up here because I think we might actually crest into our first ever 4-hour show. Good Lord. All right, first one up. Jeremy Sanford. Hands down, the Eric's Head Photoshop contest.
That was ridiculous.
I think 2018 spawned some of the most ridiculous factory sealed stuff to date. With the photoshopping being one of them.
Eric's head is the gift that keeps on giving.
I'm just glad I'm that attractive. Jeremy just went way. He went the extra mile with all of the shit that he kept photoshopping. I enjoyed that contest. That was a ton of fun. Yes, it was at my expense, but it was a ton of fun. Does anybody else want to help me read through this? I can tell Dan's starting to go into Dan mode.
I'll tell you.
No, I haven't got it up. Sorry, so I can't.
No. Taylor Favor says, "Piss eyes, funniest moment ever. I also got a co-worker into the podcast because of it."
Amazing.
That was a special moment.
So, skipping ahead to my favorite moment of the year, it had to have been going to MoCon and experiencing Piss Eyes firsthand. That moment,
you never thought you'd say.
that moment of sitting on that couch with Ben, watching Zach move faster than I think Zach probably should have been moving towards us, and just this determination in his eyes. We need to leave now. It was, oh God, it was so funny.
And speaking of Zach, his favorite moment, I really enjoyed meeting up with everyone in St. Louis and then chatting about it on the show. Shame about that kid, though.
That's a common thread, so let's just get this out of the way. Santos Lopez says, "Rest in peace, Tyrone." We've got Chad Hager. I mean, pissiest creation story. I'm not sure I've laughed harder this year. Matt LaFlamme, another vote for Piss Eyes. I was listening at work and almost spit coffee all over my computer. I'm afraid for January. I mean, everybody needs to be wearing some goggles.
Ralph Caffrey's memory. My immediate reaction is Daniel's impression of the villagers in Final Fantasy IX.
You want to boil now, lad? Yeah, that was a classic.
Miles Prower touches on another gift that keeps on giving. We discovered the true beauty of Het this year. Anything to do with Het, especially the newspaper clippings. Het happenings is just a beautiful thing.
I'm glad my hometown brings so much joy to everybody.
I gotta look this up. Knee.
It's Stephanie.
I get it.
So I was confused by this as well. She just posted a picture of, it was a gif from The Lion King of Simba being held up above Pride Rock by Rafiki. And I had to question her about it. So I forgot this had happened, but on the Factory Sealed Unwrapped for episode 151, Tom and Eric are just there chatting, and then suddenly I come in doing the entire intro to A Circle of Life from The Lion King.
Sounds like you.
Including the full... I
remember that one.
Full volume.
Shannon McIntosh, not a show moment, but I have a good time playing Mario Kart with people in the Facebook group earlier in the year while chatting on Discord.
Yeah, hear that, Dan, playing Mario Kart.
Mario Kart with a Pro Controller.
Yeah.
Well, I've got Smash now, so you can play that instead.
Yeah, right. You missed out Sarah Irvin and Juliet. Eric.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sarah Irvin, David Hayter, the whole episode. You guys started the year off right.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's one of my favourite moments of the year altogether, let alone for the show.
Yeah.
I just loved the story he told about when he was in the theatre and he scared the shit out of that guy with the Solid Snake voice. That was just genius.
Yeah, I think we'll have a solid start to 2019. Yeah, we get one show in before the true shebang, but I think 2019 is going to start with a bang. Juliet, as much as I've enjoyed all the usual shenanigans, I have to say the playthrough Final Fantasy IX, it was a dream come true. Also, the continual Het saga. How could I not pick at least one shenanigan? Yeah, she was on us for quite a while to play Final Fantasy IX.
Yeah, I think we did it justice for her.
Yeah, I think so. She said we did, so...
A couple of comments on our main Facebook page. One is from Mark Masheshi. Gotta give love to the Beyond Oasis Unwrapped episode 164. All the prostate bonding talk and more hilarity. I'll give one of my top 2008. Oh, and then he talks about his game of year. So shall we? So the prostate bonding. Yeah, I had to go back and listen to this.
Yeah, refresh us.
That was a special
I don't remember
one.
that.
Is that where we're all just talking about the issues we've had?
I think we're talking about our incidences having our prostates checked.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, where Christy's in the room with me, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Me having to ask for one because no one would give me one.
Truly, I mean,
Me screaming in pain because it was so horrible.
anyone who doesn't have access to the Unwrapped, it's worth $1. It's
Just for the
it's
prostate talk and
fucking
Lion King.
ridiculous.
And Eric doesn't help either, because I mentioned to him earlier that I listened to one of the Unwraps the other day where there's just 4 minutes of him clicking on his keyboard until someone joins it. And I said, Eric, you're not going to edit that out? Because no, it's the Unwrapped. That's how it started. That's how it ends.
I literally dropped the reference track in and hit render. So all the jokes that sometimes we have to edit out don't get edited out for the Unwrapped. So Dalton,
That's very rare.
Dalton Suter, I can't choose any one specific moment, but I've had a really tough year mentally, physically, and financially. You guys really helped me through that, and I can't thank you enough for the smiles and laughs. It makes up for the brain damage. You guys rock.
Shabba.
For the French
Shabba.
toast. What about you guys? What are some of your favorite memories from the year? Nothing? Not a thing at all?
Oh. I thought we were just taking it in turns in the same order as the show.
I
go
made
first, Eric.
I made a quick list here. David Hayter doing his Edna intro.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah, that's on my list.
Tom's bundle story.
Was that this year?
That was this year. That was episode
Was it?
151.
Oh, it was. Yeah, you're right.
Mike's optician joke. Obviously, Zach's piss eye story and going to MoCon. It was super cool to be able to meet up with Chad and kind of support something that he's worked so hard on. And definitely going back next year. I know that Ben's going and Zach's going again, and we're hoping to kind of rope more people into it. And based on all the fun that we had, I think a lot more people are interested in coming. I unfortunately had Dan's Tower of Bagel episode. It was just... I went back...
I listened to that the other day, and you were so, like, you're just getting increasingly annoyed all the way through because me and Dan aren't taking it seriously.
Well, and I thought, at one point, I finally thought Dan was done with it, and then I talk about getting to this specific village, and Dan goes, do they have bagels? Just, like, half an hour later. It just never stopped. Talking about Gary Oldman, and it's just so dumb. The Nintendo Lavo, that was this year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And talking about the chair that goes up and down the toilet that goes up and down the stairs.
This NPR.
Yes.
You trying not to piss yourself? Get a stair lift.
That's it. You tired of pissing yourself? Get a stair lift. The creation of Het Happenings.
Yeah.
The soup bra and the accidental incest app.
Oh, yeah. Iceland.
Yeah.
Not Ireland.
Craig's
bra.
Vague Bagels from episode 168. And then my favorite cold ending of the year. Cold endings pretty much started this year, didn't they?
Yeah.
So
I think we started them just before, just at the tail end of last year.
My favorite one is Mike says, "You guys want to hear something interesting?" And I go, "Nope, music." If you listen, this is at the end of 153, and if you listen after that, Mike tells the stupidest fact about butterfly dicks.
You know what? When I heard that you'd put the cold ending there, I was like, oh, we didn't put my fact in. And then because I listen to them at work, I have to let the music play out because I can't tinkle my phone while I'm driving. And then suddenly the credits end and there I am telling the fact. I was like, oh, he did keep it.
It's so stupid. If you haven't heard it, go back and listen to the end of 153. I was trying to get through as many shows as I could. I just have a couple more here. From episode 144, Mike, you and I were talking about the Het Zoo where sheep are taped together. Oh, yeah. Painted sheep, that's an elephant. And kangaroos are just a sheep with a smaller sheep taped to the front. And then from that same episode, you and I invented the Rocky Balboa bidet.
I remember this.
Yeah. And we were trying to determine whether or not it's just Rocky's face that you sit on and like water spurts out of his deformed mouth, or if it's actually a bidet that fires rocks into your anus.
I have zero recollection of this. What episode is this?
144.
I'm going to have to listen to that.
We've had some dumb shit, but I would honestly say that my favorite memory of the year was just the level of support from the community. To kind of go back to May, I had the pleasure of meeting Jay Jorgensen and Josh Moss when I was up in Minnesota. Less than 24 hours after, my year just kind of fell apart, and just kind of meeting with them showed me that what we've created here at Factory Sealed is it's not just a podcast. It's a group of friends that, we all just kind of rely on each other to just kind of get through some really difficult things. And like Dalton said, that, we've helped him through stuff, and not to rehash a bunch of things, but like this whole community and this show just helped me through this year. It's just something that has kept me going. And it's kind of been, at least for the past 8 months, the only constant in my life that has just kind of kept me going. So for me, that's been my favorite memory of the year, is just that outpouring of support. I know I didn't even have to share what was going on, but just for people to know, like, hey, something shitty is happening, and just have people pour out that support was really awesome.
Yeah, I think I can echo that with the hardships of moving abroad. This has been the one constant, and so we always have this center, like the you three and the community as well is always like my center, and that's really helped pull things back down to earth again and just be like, okay, cool, things are fine. So I totally I could totally echo that statement.
And it's something that I take a lot of pride in too, because we're a podcast where we just talk about butterfly dicks and shitting your pants while going up the stairs, but it's just, if you would have told me that Factory Sealed 6 years ago would be what it is today, it wasn't ever my intention. And I had too much damn time on my hands and wanted to do something. And I was doing the Manatang podcast and wanted to start something else. But, just to see what it's grown into and the support from the community, it's awesome.
Yeah, I said earlier on, sometimes us doing the show is a little bit like therapy for us. And I had a bit of a shitty time earlier this year as well. And you guys, as Tom said, this was the constant, and then you guys sent me God of War to cheer me up and everything like that. And yeah, it's great in having that. Well, that's downplaying it, just saying great, but it's amazing to have this that we can be a part of and bring joy to other people as well.
Yes, I agree. I haven't really had a shit year, to be honest. I'm not going to lie, but it's doing this is just so fun for me. I don't really have a lot of people who I chat games with, things like that, and just to come on here and chat nonsense with you guys for 3 hours every couple of Sundays, it's just great fun. Like, I've had so many laughs from this show.
Well, I think
not just this year, but every year since. And Eric, for us to be able to help you, even though we're on the other side of the world, that means a lot to me personally as well. And I'm glad that we could do that for you.
It's definitely helped. And I feel like, yes, we are the people on the show, but everybody in the community is a part of the show. And just to see what everybody's contributed throughout the year, it's just such an active and fun community.
Yeah, I mean, what I love all the time is how, we all communicate with each other on the group so much, and it's, you always see those same names as people invested. There's names that always come up, obviously, I mean, Zach's been on the show anyway, but, you always hear, like, Zach Forley and Dan C. Gilbert and Josh Moss and, the Macintoshes and all these people there's plenty more that I've not mentioned as well, whose names constantly come up every time because they want to be part of it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just incredible to see. And then seeing people bring their significant others in, with Kayla. And I know there's more people that I'm missing with this. But it's just really cool how people are now starting to spread that out. Like somebody said that they got a coworker in because of that. Taylor got that in. And just to see people, like they're not always the most active people, but when they are active, it's just really meaningful content that they're sharing.
I tell you what you missed off your list, mine, Derek. The Smooth Mobile and the Seat Lanzarote.
Oh, shit. All right, let's hear some of your guys' favorite moments.
I think you covered most of the ones I was going to say, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed Mike's spontaneous visit to Het. That was a good highlight.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah, I think
he is the first to make the pilgrimage. I mean, Eric, you mentioned it already, but the sweet, sweet herbs on Craig's finest fag Invisibagle.
Oh, only from a couple episodes ago, the Horbs.
Oh my god!
Oh, and the Hoctopus.
That was a frustrating episode.
I loved the Final Fantasy IX episodes. I particularly enjoyed the Boiled Owls. They were a highlight. I don't know what else happened. Circus of Values. That was a good one.
Oh, I loved that. That was one of my favourite memories.
Shabba
was a good one.
Shabba for the French toast.
We need to make a T-shirt that says that.
I think this year has been the first year that like Kat, my girlfriend, has like got more involved as well in the Facebook group too, and so she's showing me stuff that's funny that I haven't even seen. Like she's showing me, oh look at like Dan's just made another picture of Eric's bed. And she's finding
that was a highlight for me. I got a bit too involved in it, but it's just so funny.
The photos that look like they're from the late 1800s. Sort of, darling, have I told you about Mega Man? Oh, peak
the vintage Eric series.
Yes,
my favourite one was when it was two ridiculously tall policemen.
Yeah,
it's like, here, Dave, have I told you about Mega Man?
I like the one where you took my high school track photo and form an orderly queue, ladies, and I'll tell you about Mega Man.
And I shall tell you about Mega Man. I quite like Dead Space putting it into Space D. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Something else to mind. The fact that everybody else has picked up on posting pictures of games in front of their steering wheel.
Oh yes.
It's something that Zach and I just started because we're like, oh my god, I got this, I can't wait. And I'd send a picture to him in front of my steering wheel, he'd do back and forth, and then I'd just share it out to the group, and it just kind of became such a stupid thing.
Like we steering wheels and everything.
Yeah.
Well,
Thrustmaster.
I realised I screwed up a bit and I missed some of the comments out. And Matty Hallmark, I could bring his comment in. He actually mentions that. He put Piss Eyes was great. I loved seeing the pictures of Mario Kart on the garage door. The photoshopping all year long was great, and I had a blaster in the Photoshop contest. I also love that the steering wheel picture meme has become a thing. And lastly, when you guys made this a closed group, so my wife would stop making fun of me every time she saw a post from here in her newsfeed. We can be as breadwinning as we want now.
Nice.
But yeah, even he mentioned the steering wheel.
I'm sure there's been so much that we've missed, but there's been countless times where I've cried laughing because of the insanity of this.
I met up with Scott Girardi when I was back in Minnesota, and I asked him, like, are you still listening through the show? He's like, yeah, I think I'm on like my 6th or 7th time through all of the shows. It's just all he listens to. When he hits the end, he said he starts at like 45 and just cycles back through.
Well, that's when the show was saved, so good choice.
God. Anybody else?
Yeah, another a great memory of getting from you, Eric and Zach, the Welcome to America box.
Oh yeah,
that was awesome because I was feeling pretty homesick at the time.
Dan's colossal American flag.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that was a good one.
Oh yeah, of course.
Mike getting glitter all over his apartment from his present.
Oh yeah, Christ.
Have you got it all out yet, Mike?
Me getting tiny stars all over my flat from Mike's present.
The ceremonial unsealing sword. How can we forget that?
Yes, of course.
How many stars? 50?
50. That's all there ever needs to be. 50, not
yeah, the
5.
ceremonial unsealing sword. I have, in all seriousness, used the ceremonial unsealing sword for opening many games.
I used mine to open Tetris last night.
I'm surprised.
Mike, did you have any more to add?
No, you reeled off near enough every single one I was going to mention. I know it sounds like a cop-out, but you did. So I was going to mention
there's one final one for me, and it's the Stranger's Wrath episode, all the stupid impressions of Stranger and the chicken people, and also the fact that Mike was ridiculously hungover for the episode and was really quiet.
How about the Argos?
Oh God.
Oh God!
Oh Christ! I'm pretty sure I got the blame for that when it was actually Dan the entire time.
I know, and I was listening back, and I thought it was you, Mike, because I wasn't on that show.
I got the complete blame for that when the entire thing was Dan.
That was awful. I do apologize. I give myself a headache from that.
Wasn't Dan going, Mega Man this year as well?
Oh, was that this year or was it last year?
Was it this year or was that last year? I can't remember.
I don't know.
It just
you
reminded me when you said about
so
the
much
Argos
shit about Mega Man.
I can't even remember the voice.
All I remember was Eric saying something like, let me tell you about the time when you were going to tell us how you and Christy met or something. And and it just went from there. It descended into Mega Man madness.
Because I think Eric goes, oh yeah, I took us to this bar and grill, and Dad just goes, I took us to this bar and grill.
I told her all about Mega Man. And then she said to me, can Mega Man come?
Is Mega Man going to be there?
I'm sure that was this year.
To the point where Eric then was like, nope, I'm not going to finish the story. No, I'm not.
Mission accomplished.
But as I said, I missed out some comments, so we've got a few more here. Cal Gatelli just says potato. I'm sure he's referring
Dan's
to Dan's
potato.
Laptop. Yeah. David Merkel.
R.I.P.
David Merkel just says piss eyes, which Matthew Ernie says, I would have to agree, pissy face, kiddo voyeur stalker takes the cake. Yeah. The living meme himself, Dan C. Gilbert, says, I'll have to third piss eyes, but also comment on how Zach Foley did an outstanding job filling in on those two shows, and how the Fresh Blood / Perspective was a nice addition to the shows this year. I agree, yeah, Zach, good job.
Yeah.
I've not been on with you yet, but...
Yeah.
Fresh blood.
And then the last one that I missed was, Josh Moss. He said beer and a burger with Eric Peterson and Jay Jorgensen in the great state of Minnesota.
Shannon McIntosh added the birthday presents and Christmas presents that I made for them on the Glowforge, all the Glowforge art stuff.
Oh, yeah, so he did.
The character plaque things were this year, weren't they? Those got out of hand pretty quick.
Playing Friday the 13th with you guys as well.
Oh, yeah.
On the community. That was really fun.
We'll have to organize some more of that.
Quick, Eric, your Glowforge thing with the stupid quotes on,
yeah,
like a surveillance camera and Let's Mosey and things like that.
So dumb. So before we get into the last bit here, I just want to put you guys on the spot. What are some games you're looking the most forward to in 2019?
Kingdom Hearts 3.
Resident Evil 2 remake.
Death Stranding, if it does come out next year.
Ooh,
optimistic. Final Fantasy 7 remake.
No, very optimistic.
Every year for the rest of time there, Dan.
So
yes.
One of my most looked forward to games comes out in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. Ace Combat 7. And then obviously
that's in VR as well, right?
Yeah, there'll be some VR stuff to it. So then Resident Evil 2, Kingdom Hearts 3, but probably the one I'm most excited about is Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice.
Oh,
Sekiro, yeah. But Crackdown 3, Mike, it will be available for free on Game Pass at launch. But also, Team Sonic Racing.
Oh.
Crash Team Racing!
Yes.
Oh my god! it's coming out.
And then Skull and Bones. I think that one's going to end up being pretty cool.
What will you all get Crash Team for?
Seems like a good Switch game.
Yeah, I'll probably get it on Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
I'll get it on Switch too then.
All right, so the last thing we need to shore up here, because we want to make sure we have as much information out to you guys as possible for our January escapade. You guys descend in less than 4 weeks.
Oh my god!
It's about
it's
about 3 weeks and 4 days. Just to recap, we are going to be doing a fan meetup on Saturday. Obviously, there's not too many people that are local, but Saturday the 26th, we're going to probably be meeting up at one of the local breweries. Have yet to really decide, maybe Four Peaks or one of the retro breweries. Or, you know what would be better? Cobra Arcade Bar. That'd probably be
the word arcade in it.
That'd probably be a better shout. That'll probably be right around 4 o'clock, and then after that, we're coming back to my place, and we're doing multiple hours of streaming us playing video games and doing stupid challenges. So, with that, here's some information on it. We're probably going to be streaming it on Twitch. We have some finer details to figure out. We have an absolute mountain of stuff we're going to be giving away this year, from games to store cards, PSN, eShop, Live Store. Then I'm going to make a bunch of different things on the Glowforge, just smash standees, buttons, magnets, pins, coasters. And then here's where things are really interesting. If you're a Patreon supporter, you're going to have access to win things only Patreon supporters are going to get access to. Hoping to get some more shirts made. We're going to be probably picking out some games that we've played on the year that were the most impactful to us, or just on the show in general, sending out copies of those. I'll make some special things that are only going to be available to Patreon supporters. And then we have a couple other special things I don't really have ironed out yet. But the way that's going to work is everything's going to be done on a raffle basis. So we're going to have a bunch of raffle tickets that, for the Patreon supporters, every $10 that you've donated throughout the year is going to get you a raffle ticket. However, if you haven't donated through Patreon throughout the year, we're going to have a way set up so you can donate during the live stream to get raffle tickets. So the way we're thinking about doing it right now is each ticket costs $1. And then $3 will get you 5 tickets and $5 will get you 10 tickets. The money itself will go directly back into the show for more giveaways, and just like we've been doing in the past. But we'll be fleshing out some more of those details and posting that later. But there is going to be a ton of stuff that we're going to be giving away. We're going to be playing tons of different games throughout the course of the evening. It will be a live video feed as well. We're going to have multiple cameras set up. We have a little bit more space than we did in London, so we're going to take full advantage of that. And I think we have another person flying into town to spend time with us.
Mr. Bubble Bath himself.
Mr. Brown Eye of the Storm.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. Matt Ernie is flying in to spend some time with us too. So if you have it in your budget to come in and see us, we'd love to meet as many of you as possible. I know that Jason McGill is going to drive down from Kingman, and we've got a couple people local here. Zach's flying into town. Ben was thinking about coming down. Scott was looking into coming down as well. So
I think we might need to push this. If we're doing the live stream at the times we're thinking, we might need to push this meet and greet earlier.
Yeah, I think so. I think
Sounds
so.
like
Well, maybe a lunch thing, but we'll figure all that stuff out and be sharing it out. We just wanted to make people aware. Gentlemen, that's our 4 hour.
It'll be posted on our social media.
Yeah. So keep an eye out on it. Guys, that's the show.
That's 2018, guys.
What a year.
A real roller coaster of a year.
I hope 2019 is as good in gaming and better in every other aspect.
Sounds good to me.
What are we playing next?
Next up is Ace Combat 4 Shattered Skies, or what's it called in Europe? Ace Combat Distant Thunder?
Distant Thunder. Yeah.
European Extreme.
So that's up next.
Oh, we use the planes and we fight the bad guys with the planes. Rat-a-tat, boom.
Can you take your plane to Argos?